Hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and bring in my co-host, Dustin.
What's going on, guys?
Hello. My name's Kevin Giott with my co-host, Dustin Burnell, and we would like to welcome you to the very first episode of Comic Camaraderie. And happy to have you guys here. Very thrilled about it. Got a lot of good stuff going on tonight. The launching of The Listener, Wins When Weeps coming on. We're going to do the unveiling of the live then. We're going to go through some stuff with the game that's coming out, Road to Sin, and then we're going to cap off the show with Frank Forte. He's going to come on and do some things for us. So we'll go ahead and let's kind of let them know, for those who don't know already, Dustin, I guess, kind of how this all kind of came about for a second.
So my Uncle Les, he was one of the first Native American Green Berets, and he passed away about 8 months ago. It's a real hard time for me, and he used to tell us stories when we were kids about the things that he dealt with and what he went through, as a soldier. And when he got older, the PTSD was even worse, then. And he would tell us these horrible, horrible stories about how, like, the things he would deal with, like, literally terrifying things. And when he passed, I didn't want people to lose those stories. I didn't want people to lose the message that he was trying to get across with people. So therein went The Listener. We created The Listener out of, necessity almost. We wanted to give people something that was disappearing in this world due to the fact that we were desensitized to things. So I wanted to be able to give you modern fear in a way that would work. So we went and we came out with The Listener and added supernatural horror to it. And, it turned into this beautiful experience with amazing artists and, teammates, and just, I can't begin to tell you how thankful I am. And for the first time in ever, we've got most of that team here today. I'm really excited about that.
That's definitely and like you said, it's a legacy. I mean, you're passing on everything that he went through. Again, interjecting some other supernatural things in it. I mean, I read the first one. I love the first one. And I've got a sneak peek at some of the stuff going on with the second one, which I'm not going to give away. Which has kept me. I see pages as they develop, and I'm just waiting for the next one to drop. So
for sure, well,
definitely excited.
And we're as a team, we're getting better together. We're pushing the artwork to the limit. We're pushing our talents to the limit. From me as a writer to the artists involved, to the the letterer involved, to the people that are selling our book. We're pushing each other hard and positively to continue to better one another.
I think that's key. I think that's where you and I click the most too. We're better together kind of thing, and that's why this whole Atomic Camaraderie came about. Was Absolutely. Off of another show and off another panel. Dustin and I got to talking, and pretty soon the room got quiet, and we kind of looked around, and we're still talking, and people are still watching. Right. And they came up and said, you two guys need to do a show. Ichthus and Phil Leon and Pops was there. And they're like, you guys all need to do a show. We were on one of Pop's ending panels for his Monday Madness show. And it said, actually, it was during a CromCon. It was the last panel, very last panel. And that's where Dustin and I met. And after the show, we had kind of another 30-minute talk with everybody after the show. And they said, no, you guys need to do a show together. You guys click. And we talked about it some more and decided that, we'd give it a go. And people have been very receptive to it, which has been a very blessing. It's thrilled us that they said, no, you really guys need to go for it. And I want to thank, Josh Bauer for all his input he's done for the intro piece. That was Josh and I putting our heads together. And
it was super cool.
Really, it was a lot of fun to do. And he's a wizard at that kind of stuff. And I said, I'd like this, and this, and these panels, and here's some transitions, and let's see what we can do with it. And he started coming up with some things, and it just rolled. It actually rolled together very quickly. And we had a lot of fun with it. But I will try to do my best to do my kind of Dennis Miller, kind of keep things going and interject some things as we go. And first off, what I want to do is we have several sponsors that helped make this happen. And I'd like to highlight a couple of those along the way. And then as soon as we get back, anytime you see this pop up, we're going to talk about a quick sponsor real quick, and then we're going to jump right back into the action. So here's the first one right off the bat. We'd like to definitely thank Hasm and show that they have shows on every Thursday and Friday nights. Their Thursday Throwdown and their Friday night draw. It is something that is sponsored by NSC Live TV, and it is a really fun show to watch. If you want to tune in and watch people draw and have a lot of good banter and just kind of really talk about things and comic in general. Definitely tune into those shows. Again, that's 2 nights. That's Thursday and Friday nights, both of them 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can catch that on Hasm itself. You can go to the website. You can go to the Facebook page that has the Frank Forte, and it has a Fight and Forney show. And you can definitely catch that there. Tune in. It's a lot of fun. I'm there just most every time, just watching and having a blast with them. And then you can buy different pieces after the show. So really great stuff. Also, too, I want to bring in that we are part of the NSC Roadshow podcast tour. And we're one of probably now, my God, it grows every week. We're probably 25 in now to all these different podcasters from all over the world, which is great to be a part of. And as creators come on, like Dustin, we get a chance to talk with them and see more about their book and see how the process went. And also just kind of find out what else they're doing. Like I said, Frank's going to be on later night. He's going to be another creator talking about what they're doing. What all he's doing is, of course, all things Frank. So just a lot of good things. Again, that's Hasm. That's their 2 shows. And then make sure you tune in to everything on the NSC Roadshow, which is on NSC Live TV. And look forward to some more events coming up.
Yeah, man, it's really exciting.
Well, Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you bring in the team, and you guys start to kind of let us know all things Dustin.
Oh, yeah,
and the team.
let's do all things listener. Dustin's not as exciting as these guys are. So let's bring in some of these guys. We'll start off with Eric. We'll bring Eric in. Eric is our interior artist. Phenomenal guy. And I'll let you guys, ask him any questions you got real quick, or try to get some feedback from him. I kid you not, when I was looking for an interior artist, I had 120 something people reach out to me about getting in with the listener and doing the interior artwork. And Eric sent me this beautiful piece of Addie, our protagonist. And after that, it was like, that's the dude. That's the dude for the listener, man. He needed to be part of it. His artwork is so beautiful. You guys have seen his interiors. You guys have seen his covers. It's just phenomenal stuff. I mean, he's got a style all his own, which is very different in this day and age, because people tend to, not have original stuff anymore. It's they follow after other people. And one thing that I'm very grateful for with our team, not just Eric, but everybody involved, is they have their own beautiful style. They bring such an array of talent to the table. And I'll let you go ahead, Eric, and say a few words before we, start getting into things.
Thank you, Dustin. Yeah, like you guys can pick up, I'm not originally from any English-speaking country. And where I come from, we used to do a lot of traditional media, like oils, acrylics, pencils. So I think pretty early on, I got really involved with that kind of feel on the artwork that you create. And I think I have continued even adding a lot of digital tools on my tool belt. I still like the end result looking like a traditional piece. If you check my Instagram, you will see that I have oil paintings or even pencil sketches. And suddenly then you can see the transition during the years going towards more digital. But across all the images that I upload, I think you can track the origins of what I really, really enjoy. That will be traditional. So I'm really happy that you liked the first painting that I did. I also tried to convey both worlds, like digital and traditional, to make a workflow that it suits a graphic novel or a comic book. Because the time frame is different. We are popping out one issue a month of 24 pages plus cover. And if you want to stick to super traditional, like pencil, inking by hand, and you don't want to use any traditional media, it will take you a little bit longer, I guess. And also we are doing everything with one person. right? We're doing the sketching, color, inking, basically like the whole package with one person. So I think we have found with Dustin a good balance in between being faithful to the comic book art scene and bringing something new. I think we have seated for a lot of hours, say Dustin.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, one thing that's beautiful about the work that he and I do is most of the time we do it together, which is a very powerful thing because a lot of times you just go, hey, look, here's what I want you guys to do it. And that's the end of the conversation between the artist and the writer or the creator. I have got a immense amount of respect for the people on our team because I generally don't have to say a lot. You know, you can ask any of our artists, any of our, cover artists or anything. They generally vibe with me very well on a personal level. So it's like almost like reading my mind. It's an absolutely incredible experience to work with this array of talent. Eric and I literally will spend hours on a panel to get it exactly how it needs to be. And he even brings these amazing, his own insight into these beautiful pieces. And it's like, well, maybe do this angle, or we change this angle just a little bit to show you something you wouldn't have seen if you were not paying attention to it. And that's a really, really cool thing. So now I'm going to go ahead.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing experience.
I think it's really personal from the artist and the creator. It's not something that somebody can ask and say, "Oh, how do you guys do it?" I think it's building up into the relationship that we're building on every single issue, right? Because I remember somebody asking on Facebook, how much information do you give to the artist? And suddenly it is a matter of personality and relationship, because some artists need everything just written down, and others need maybe a little bit more freedom. And with us, we are constantly chatting about panels, mood, directions that we want to create for the viewer. So yeah, I think it comes out from the relationship that you have with the writer and the artist. I think is how we are increasing the quality of the listener. Because if you open book 2 in the future and you compare it with book 1, its ages, in quality is way improved. But anyways, I think it comes from that. If anyone thinks, how do we, how much info do you give to the artist? How much info do you have to ask for? Sit down with the writer and have a chat with it and work from there, I would say. What do you reckon, Dustin?
It definitely is a team. It's a team effort. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you should, if you're doing a comic or doing a graphic novel or doing any project in general, I don't think you can just jump in and grab an artist or a writer because you like their style. I really think you have to vibe with that individual. If you're not vibing with them, it doesn't work. Gabby below us, she's tattooed almost my entire body.
Yeah, looks great.
65% of my body, and not once have I ever said, hey, look, this is exactly what I want you to do. There has to be a trust in your team to feel what what you're doing. Because I got news for you. Anybody can come out and draw, but if you're not feeling it as a person, like deep down, I know it sounds, almost metaphysical, but it is so much. It's so powerful when you get these people to work with you and you become a team. And now all of a sudden, it's not your project alone. Now it's their project as well, and it's your lives together. We've been working on the listener, Eric and I, specifically Eric and I, since like June maybe of last year. I mean, it's been a supreme effort between everyone involved. And with that, let me grab Gabby, and I'll bring her up here, and she'll join us. She is cover A.
Hey, Gabby.
How's it going?
Hi, it's going.
I get that. How you doing, Brad?
Good, man.
Good stuff. teamwork does definitely make the dream work. Gabby is our cover A on every cover because she's one of my best friends. She's an incredible human being. And if you guys don't follow Grimworks Tattoo, you are definitely missing out. So make sure you guys go follow Grimworks. You can find it on Facebook. You know, I used to remember Gabe calling it Jacksonville's best kept secret. Sorry if I broke that, but it's very important for everybody to know how awesome you guys do between you and Crowbar and everybody else there. Now, Gabby's cover A's are such an incredible thing that we bring in because we talked about different types of talent. Gabby's so used to doing everything pen and paper. Digital was new for her, right? That was a new experience.
Oh, it still is. Still is.
So one cool thing about Gabby is when you look at her covers, she has this amazing way to focus your visual, your what would you call that, Eric? Your sight, your line of sight. You know, she can, if she wants you to see it, that's what you're going to look at when you pick up the cover. Her cover for book A was absolutely phenomenal. It was a lot of fun, and her cover for book B, which we're going to show you guys all the covers here shortly. But the cover for book B is absolutely amazing as well. We haven't added the trade dress just yet, but we will shortly. So we're going to show you guys the version of that cover, and it's stunning. I mean, look at, I don't take credit for my work down there. Yeah, I see that face. So now you've got a amazing talent that is working with us, not only on the listener, but she's also doing Dee's journal, which is a phenomenal outing in itself. And you guys are going to get some beautiful paintings. I mean, absolutely beautiful paintings in this book. You want to give us a little insight, Gab, onto why you chose the way you chose those amazing colors and how because we're going to give a little sneak peek. We're going to show some of the work in progress. We're not going to show too many pieces because I don't want to give away how awesome this particular project is going to be. But, you know, just give us a little insight.
I mean, I'm still learning. This is more of like me like doing what I did. It's more like experimenting and like still learning and stuff. And it's like, so thanks for not being super picky about everything that you want, because I'm figuring it out as we go. It's fine.
For sure.
It's more like I'm kind of like winging it.
Gotcha.
Kind of thing. So
we know you like monsters and demons and stuff like that. So we get to see you know, the outcomes of that. We know that you've worked on the 4 Horsemen recently.
Yes, those are complete. And those were very stressful. I've tattooed people for a living, and that was stressful for me.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that being stressful. I've seen you tattoo people numerous times, myself included, and the hand doesn't shake at all. But doing on the computer is stressful. It's an interesting, you know, outlook on things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like anything tech-wise, like you can ask Brad, who works in IT. I'm like the most non-tech savvy person at all. Hang on. So, we have 4 dogs.
4 dogs.
4 dogs.
So, you know, that being said, are you finding it to be do you find it more difficult with tattooing? Like the actual imagery, or do you feel that you're getting up to your talent by hand on digital?
I don't know. It's more, it's like the words. Like when it comes to tattooing, it's all just one thing, you know, there's like, it's all the same thing. It's like, just like ink in the skin, in and out, different size needs, stuff like that. But when it comes to like traditional painting and drawing, stuff like that, it's like different brushes, different types of paints, different inks and all this stuff, whatever. When it comes to digital, it's like all of that is in one area that I have to like know how to like get to, kind of like if I want a certain look to a thing, I gotta know which texture to use. I can't make that texture by myself. It'll take me forever to do or whatever. So it's just like the freedom that I have with digital is my problem. I'm usually like used to having it like one way, this way is the way, versus like digital. It's like you can do whatever you want. The possibilities are unlimited, and I'm like, oh, this is terrifying. So now it's like I have to like remember not to add a million things into one part. So.
Right. Cool. Well, does anybody have any questions for Gabby or Eric before we grab Adam? No? All right. Let's get Mr. Field.
Just gonna take a second to say thank you to Williams, who left a message on Facebook. Hey, how are we?
There you go. Feel free, guys. If people are reaching out, make sure you reach out back. Let them know. So this is Adam Fields.
Hey,
Adam
guys.
is an incredible human being. I actually met him through a live show as well. I think that was also on a Madness event. No, you told me about the Madness event. You were like, hey, make sure you show up.
I told you about the Madness. I think we met through Kyle.
That's probably what it was. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I've been following your fan page, and Kyle was like, "Hey, why don't you reach out to him? He's a real good dude." And I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." Adam does all kinds of amazing different types of pieces, guys. You can see some of them behind him. Actually,
Yeah.
He's, phenomenal. Paul definitely does know that guy. Yeah, Adam has done so many different cool pieces recently. He's got his own projects going on. But he's been a staple with our team since we started. We're really, really happy to have him on board. His covers are phenomenal. Let me ask you this, Adam. Where does your inspiration, when you read the listener, you see our scripts, where does your inspiration come from for the covers you do?
So I try to find either something that is a heart tugger, or something that's going to have that wow factor.
Absolutely.
So when you see my cover for issue 2, you'll know immediately that it's something very, very serious. For issue 1, I wish I had the book sitting here if I was prepared.
I feel the same way. Don't feel that.
I know. They're normally in arm's reach, but for issue 1, it was right before a big event. So right. I like to bring in a little suspense in my covers. Oh, my wife signaled. She's going to grab it for me.
The build-up are cool. It's very interesting to see, like I mentioned before, the different types of covers by the different artists. We have a varying range of styles. I think your style is incredible, man. You bring this these beautiful tones to your pieces. And actually, hold on, I'll bring it up real quick for you. So you guys, this is what we're calling, we'll show you the whole thing later, but this is Adam Fields' rucksack package that you guys will be able to see.
Yeah, there it is.
So those are both his covers for book 1 and book 2, which is The Listener Addy and The Listener When Winds Weep. Stunning stuff, guys. Just absolutely incredible pieces. There's not a whole lot to say about how awesome they are, other than just, oh my gosh, and we're doing a lot of that with our artists, and making sure that you guys get to see these amazing, talents that are, maybe some of them are up and coming, maybe some of them have been around a little while and are just getting their names out there, and that's what's beautiful about our team, because they all meld. If you put all our books down, and we'll show you a huge spread of the books here in just a little bit of every cover, actually. It's interesting to see the different talents. Like, we added David Acampo at the end of the last book. He came in and started doing character designs with us and promotional pieces for this particular book. He added his cover as well, and we'll see that in a little bit. David may join us in chat, but he's, he says Mexico has awful Wi-Fi, so I don't know anything about that, but we'll see. If he can make it, he'll come hang out a little bit. We're trying very hard to stick to the same team. Building is cool, and getting more members is great, but I would like to make sure that you guys always have the same core team and can always pick up their products when you'd like to. That being said, we've also got Manny Soto, who has joined our team as well, and you guys will get to see a couple pieces of his here shortly when the Kickstarter goes live, which is so exciting. I mean, to go from book 1 to book 2, and When Winds Weep is just it's so much like heartstrings attached to like the entire book. You know, it was. I mean, I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried, messing myself up with my own, with my own characters and whatnot. But it's an interesting thing to see when we take a character and Eric does a design, or then Adam picks up after Eric's design, and then Gabby's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this one," and it's so cool. Because most of our team, if they've not done a piece before or they've not seen the character on paper before, tend to come to a very close design as every other member of our team and the thought process behind it. And I think that's what Eric was talking about earlier, building your team. You know, it's like a sports team. You know, you got to pick the people that match to the quarterback, but there's no quarterback. With this, it's everybody going to everybody. And I reach out to everybody. I'm like, hey, is this a good idea? You guys like that? Is that cool? Does that work? Because it's as much as each of these individuals as it is my own. And that's what's very powerful about it. Because some of these characters, Gabby for one, and David Acampo as well, have drawn characters before Eric got a hold of it. So it's a very interesting concept to see how. Thanks, Stone. I appreciate that, man. It's just very powerful experience to watch people build off of one another. Guys, don't let me talk all the time because I will. Make
Pope
sure you
was saying hi to.
No, I'll keep talking.
That's okay. Pope was saying hi to. Pops, that the person who runs one of the Facebook
the madness
groups.
The madness, yeah.
Pop's fan, Pop's fan Sant, how to pronounce
it? For sure. Well, I'm glad you loved it, man. That's been one of the most integral things about the book, I think. The feedback from everyone's covers and all, just as a whole, the interior book. We've gotten teammates for our secondary series that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit from the feedback that we've received from the interior of the book, as well as the covers. One fun thing that we're doing right now as a team, and I'll end up, snagging people and getting them for more stuff, more of our teammates to do things, is we're working on our tabletop game, Win Wins Weep. So I'm sure you guys will see some work from Adam in there. I'm sure you'll see some work from Eric in there. We've got Gabby's all over that book, like the proverbial white on rice all over that book. And Brad, do we see arm of Brad? Brad is,
I can't see you.
Editing that book for me as I work on it. It's a incredible experience, and it's a lot of fun to have an individual like himself who's also played games on table for a long time to help us get to where we need to be and make sure that all the mechanics are played correctly. We've got everything we need to put together. One of the cool add-ons that we're doing, because when we did the first Kickstarter, I had no idea about add-ons. I didn't know what an add-on was. So we're adding dice for Road to Sin, which is very exciting to me. And they look like human bone, which is absolutely just the coolest. But so today, speaking about Road to Sin, we have 4 individuals, along with Gabby and Brad, who will be playtesting Road to Sin this evening. So you guys will get to see a little bit of the gameplay, how the story runs. With that, though, one of the coolest parts is you'll get to see some of my storytelling. You'll get to get a feel for this. If you've not read any of The Listener, which I highly suggest you do, when we go live here in, a minute. Isn't that right, Kevin? We go live in a minute. And that is
boy.
We go live in a minute. So let me swing on over there. And I can't hear you, Kevin. You're muted, brother.
Back here, muting everything, running the board here for a second.
There you go.
But no, the board's all yours, and you hit the go button, and we're all here to watch and cheer and
all right,
make this thing go.
It's exciting.
All right, let's hit the button and see what happens. All right, launch now. Ooh, we are live. Kickstarter for the win.
Kickstarter is
Hey.
live.
Hello.
Yes.
That's exciting, guys. And let's bring in. We'll bring in everybody in. I know Andreas is driving, so we're gonna give him a little bit of a leeway with driving down the road and whatnot. He'll be on in a few minutes. So the cool thing about these guys, in particular, James Hull, which we can't see, I guess he's incommunicado. So Connor is on as well. He'll be playing with us. That's exciting. He's doing a game himself, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna show him a few things that we've been working on, so he gets some ideas. And what are we at on time right now, Kevin? We're doing
One thing I did want to bring up, another reason I brought Connor on was to say that the first one that came out, the first edition that came out for the listener, that PDF was also shared out with Connor's book, his Swords and Solace. When it hit a certain tier, it was a share, right? So that book's also getting pushed around that way. And the same thing for Connor, that it's going to be a share at a certain tier, that one of the books that Connor has will be a PDF that'll be available as well to all the listener audience. So just want to bring that up while Connor was here. I know he's playing the game, but I want to kind of put that out there as well.
I lost my connection there for a quick second, so I just came back on and my name was being said.
But yeah, that's why I wanted to go ahead and let him know. And he's gonna stick around. He's gonna be in and out, and he's gonna come on for the game. Time wise, we're at 4:30. You just hit the live button, so now it's basically just everybody can kind of basically just kind of do round robins, talk about some of the pieces. Dustin, you can bring things in and out. Anybody, of course, talk about their piece. So it's all you guys.
Let's go ahead and bring up the Kevin. If you could bring up the actual Kickstarter, if you could share that.
You want me to go ahead and bring up the Kickstarter video, the one that launches the let's go ahead and bring up let's bring up that real quick.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. 1 second. Let me jump back over there. This is the video that is actually circling around as a commercial, but it's also something I want to share with you guys here.
Beautiful piece.
And let me jump over to the listener. And let me get that for you.
Oh, James is back. Welcome back, James.
All right.
Oh, look, we got the game board as the background. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Can we bring up the? Hold on, I'll do it.
Yeah, you have to do it from your side to share the Kickstarter.
Let me bring up the Kickstarter, and we'll go over the Kickstarter real quick. So here's the Kickstarter, guys. This is what it actually looks like when you get into it. And as we go down, we do this. We take the portraits for the characters. It came out looking awesome from everybody's covers. And we'll add Eric's cover when it gets in here. But as we're going down, we did some cool things with covers this time. I mean, everybody did a little something different and stuck to the theme, though, which was a lot of fun. David went in and did a beautiful homage to Turok. And then Gabby and Adam stuck true to the storyline itself. The Turok thing was my thing because I'm a huge Turok fan. And I don't think, our Native American, characters get enough coverage anyway. So there's also a couple images from the interior of the book. If you want to talk about those a little bit and your opinions on them, Eric, that'd be pretty cool.
Here's
Got me, Eric? You guys hear me?
I think his mic is muted.
Oh, no
Here we
worries.
go. You had both
There we
both
go.
mics
All right.
muted.
Let me go back. I was just checking. I couldn't see. Hold up. That's funny. All right, so here we go.
You will be nothing if not entertaining tonight.
Yeah,
which
I was
is
mentioning
everybody
that
knows.
I was trying to portray motion. Was trying to portray motion and battlefield. How would it feel that every single thing is pretty fast and pretty intense at the same time. And the rain really helps to convey all that. You know, the raining, the motion, the intensity of what's going on. And as an artist, you always think that you could have done better. So it's hard to criticize your own work.
Right.
You always see the things that could have been better, but at the same time, at some point you have to let it go and just move to the next page and make the workflow work. But I really enjoy the more experimental moments where like the Japanese being dragged down. I don't know if I'm allowed to say where and what's going on, but
yeah, let's not.
they,
We can go with that. The drag down is good.
Okay, because the lighting situations in those moments are pretty unique. So that exploration was really, really cool. Or when you have memories and those memories are happening in different parts of different, and also in different locations, different times of the day. And that has been challenging in one page, just to make sure the viewer is having the feel that these are different moments, different parts of the day, different situations. All that has been a nice challenge to have. And also inside of a single page, how you break down the first one to the last one, and when you go in between, you have a good contrast of light and how warm and how cold that is. So all that has been a really nice challenge to have. Like I said, you always think that it could have been better, but that, I think that's the nature with every artist. But yeah, I really enjoyed also the script. You know, working out with Dustin and all the questions that I asked him personally when we are working on the script really helps to improve the understanding of where are we trying to put the listener on. Sorry, the viewer, not the listener. The viewer on. In which mood? What do we want to make them feel? And all that comes together with the dialogues and the text. So really, really enjoyed most of the pages, I have to say.
So Merlot rough, huh? Well, so one thing that we did different this time, and I mentioned it earlier, is we added tiers for our like Kickstarter's new to me. You know what I mean? As it is to a lot of people when your first outing. So as we've learned, we've built more, and we've added more combinations of things for you guys that you can snag. So like we went in with, and this is Gabriella's gear, is what we call this, which is her cover from the listener Addie, and her cover from the listener for When Winds Weep. So we're excited about that. Stuff like that. Hey, Gab, you want to tell us a little bit about your thought processes on the different types of cover you did? Because they're very, very different.
Going back to what you said about like us being able to read your mind, since I do that for a living, I basically just kind of felt what I felt. Like I just took whatever I felt when reading the book and just kind of put it on paper, or I guess on tablet, on screen. And then anytime like I do like a mood drawing, I see like colors and like certain colors that I feel kind of thing. So that's kind of like the inspiration for like the certain colors that I use. And I really don't like getting crazy with two colors. So I just pick like one strong, bold color, like the greens in my new cover. It's like that. I just carried those greens throughout the whole piece and just made it very kind of like what's the word, like outsidey, like, but also very sad and.
Right. Love the hands on that, dude. Those are awesome.
Thank you.
So then we're going down to Adam's, and this is what we call Adam's gunny sack, which if anybody's been in the military or anything like that, most of these terminologies will, make sense to you guys. So we took these amazing pieces, and I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to get a combination of his covers because I find them to be beautiful. His colors are amazingly saturated, and when you get a hold of them, it's just in your hand. It's phenomenal. I mean, and when I first saw the cover for Addie, the first book, and he had showed it to me in pencil, and I was like, that's really, really cool. And then the man turned around and sent me the inked, and I was just like so floored by how deep the blacks were. It was such a really cool experience for me, having been reading comic books all my life and selling comic books for a good almost half of it. To see something like that was absolutely incredible. I mean, phenomenal. Adam, you want to talk about these just for a minute?
Oh yeah. So on the first one, basically when I was reading the script, I stopped at one part and I said, the action alone would make a great cover, but I want to lead into that. So that's what mine, the first one was. And then reading the script for the second one, there was this one scene that really stopped me because I don't know, I just sort of related to him right there, and I'm like, okay, we are going to bring some mystery into what's going on, and it just fits the title.
Absolutely, I love that cover, man. I think that you really embodied feeling in that, like, just wow. It's a wow factor for me, man.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun to do.
I can only imagine. So then we get down and we call this the Naki'id, which is the tribal gathering, is what that means. And this is one of our tiers, and you'll be able to snag every cover from both books, along with some swag, which we'll get into swag as we go down a little further. But this has got Kyle's cover in it. It's got Mike DeBalfo's cover in it. It's got, David Acampo's cover, Marissa Pope's cover, and Eric's first cover. You guys will get to see Eric's second cover as well as Marissa's other cover here very shortly in the future. We'll be adding them to the Kickstarter as they come in. One thing, like I mentioned, I didn't know much about before being as my first Kickstarter. I didn't know much about print or add-ons. So when David came on, he was like, hey, can I do some promotional material? And I was like, man, could you do prints? And we built these together. I designed these prints, and he ran with them after I gave him my ideas. But, we give away a little bit with this particular print with Sonny and Addie, because I want you, if you read the first book, it's going to drive you to wonder what's going on between these two characters. And it's such an interesting relationship and bond that the two of them have, that we want to make sure that we're highlighting that in promotional material. Kevin and I joked about doing t-shirts the other day that said hashtag Team Addie, hashtag Team Sonny across the chest. But as we go further, we show another one by David Acampo, which is the wins after, certain events in the book, and they're sitting over the listener's grave. One key point about the listener is the series itself is there can only be one listener at any given time. So if one passes away, they hand down the ability to the next listener. It's a bloodline trait, which is really interesting and fun to do with particular pieces of art like this, because they're like, people are like, who died? Well, read the book. You know what I mean? So then we went down and we added t-shirts. Now, this was a really cool concept to me because I love the burning headdress. The burning headdress is such a staple for our book that I thought it would make a killer t-shirt. So on the side of the sleeve, Eric is actually doing the rune on Adesai's chest. We're going to put that rune on the side of the sleeve. So you'll have the art from the headdress on the chest. We do male and female, of course. And then you'll have the Odysseia rune on the left arm, or the right arm, sorry. And then we went down and we added a couple other things. We've talked about Road to Sin, which we'll get into later on this evening. But dice. I really wanted you guys to have something special and very different. So these are Gee's Bone dice. You'll be able to add them as an add-on in the Kickstarter. And they'll go right with the game coming up, which is so much fun. But they're really neat. They look like human bones, you know, and they're not all the same, which, as would be the case with human bone, if you were cutting them, they'd all look different. So they all have a little bit of difference with them. So I'm excited to get you guys those. And then my favorite, I think, is the whiskey soap. Soap is an add-on you can add as well that we joke about making it smell you like make you smell like the listener. It's whiskey, campfire smoke, and bullet powder is what it smells like. So we're excited to get that out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, all these things you'll be able to add to any tier that you do on the Kickstarter. And then going further, here's a 9/8 that Kyle and I signed of his cover for book one, Addie. We're adding signature series and CGC products to this Kickstarter. And then going down a little bit further, we'll talk about Gee's journal for a minute. And we're going to give it back to Gabby so she can tell you a little bit about these two characters and what inspired her to do them in the way that she did. And these are teasers that are coming right out of Gee's journal. Gee's journal is a 60-page book that you'll be able to only get with the Kickstarter. 60 pages, 30 full pages of art. So it's going to be really exciting. And we'll let Gabby get into these particular two pieces.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to make like my own like monster manual and stuff. It's like something that me and Brad enjoy doing. That's like a hobby, is like playing D&D with our friends and everything. But like these two in particular are actually my two favorites because I don't know, I just love like movement in pieces. I love like taking like screenshots of like dancers and stuff and using them as references. Like when I was learning how to draw, doing like gestured like figures and stuff like that, it was always with dancers. It was always with people dancing and like sometimes like using like contortionists too. Like so these kind of like brought me back to like my roots on how I learned how to draw like figures and stuff, and then just like making them look super creepy and gross and expanding on like texture and stuff I'm kind of like lacking in. I got to really learn how to like do and like actually make a piece that I like. And
for sure, I get that. I mean, I love them. I mean, I absolutely do. I think the concept of Gee's journal is so much fun because it's literally, it was hard for me to write because if any of you guys have written anything or have been involved in writing anything, you know, feel free to interject, but it's a very interesting thing to try to write ahead without giving you spoilers for the book, you know, because currently the listener is at 29 copies that scripts I've written. So I'm to the point where I want to show you these characters and introduce you to them. And I want you to be able to vibe with how they come about and what with their backstories and stuff. So this is actually Gee's account of these characters. So it was very interesting, almost like a yin and yang, try to give you cool information and mini stories without giving you any details that would lead you to, you know, directions within the book that you hadn't got to read yet. Going further down, we have a placeholder title on this, but this is what the journal will look like when it's printed, and then it'll have the Odysseia rune on it. So like I said, it'll be a 30 print run book, and it comes with this really cool wooden pen. Oh, that was neat. So you guys will be able to snag those, and then one of the stretch goals is I'm getting tattooed, so that's exciting, right? I'm gonna see if Gabby will put that rune on my chest if we hit 4,000. So maybe we can get that done. Hopefully we get that done. I'm sure we will. Not stressing it. So as we go further down as well, a portion of the proceeds will benefit a charity. This is a very special charity to me. You guys will be able to get the links to that and donate yourselves if you'd like. But it's to protect wolves in this country. My uncle believed very heavily that they were spiritual animals in beings themselves. So I want to make sure that we give a little bit back. It's very important to me that, after I've seen and done my research on theologies and stuff and my own background, that we make sure that we're doing something to help out. And, we're all going through Inked Marketing. They're amazing, and they are definitely helping us out, because if I didn't have a manager, guys, I'd be all over the place, I promise. So thank you, Kevin. And James is back. Welcome back, James Hull. Welcome back, James. Hello,
Hey, James.
No. What are we doing?
So, good, man, good. So we have, along with having James, we have an interesting thing going on. We offered to allow anybody that sent us, exactly, that's what I'm talking about right there. So we had I don't want to say a competition, but we offered anyone that was interested in getting their artwork published to send us fan art, or pieces that they'd put together. I'm happy to say that Jordan's son is going to be, our friend Jordan is going to be have his son's artwork in Gee's journal, opposite of Gabby's. So he'll get to be like, hey, look, I was part of the listener. It was a very fun experience for the young guy, And Oscar, our good buddy Oscar right there as well, his artwork is going to show up in the listener. He sent us a very cool werewolf that will, a Phalod that will be opposite of Gabby's artwork as well. So that's really cool. We're trying to make sure that we help out as much as we can and, show people the love that they give us back. Now there's one other event. Hold on, let me bring up my notes because I don't want to say anybody's name wrong. Give me 1 second. So, his name is Stephen Roy. I guess he's a buddy of Pops Van Zant's. He followed the madness. He is the one that we chose to get Adam's Virgin variant. So we're excited to be able to do that for him. So what I'll do is I'll mail it to Adam, see if we can't get a signature for you, and then I'll mail it out to you. So it'll be double signed, and then we'll get it to you, man. That's super exciting. And then we got two little things to talk about real quick before we get into the road to sin and whatnot. So Manny Soto is doing some promo work and working with David Acampo on our next project. And I'm sure that we'll be pooling resources. So you guys will see multiple covers coming out from people when they have time here and there, different things from our artists. But we're doing a secondary series from the point of view of a 10-year-old child, which is really exciting. It's a 10-year-old boy, and his best friend, well, wasn't his best friend when it starts, but becomes his best friend, is his monster under the bed. And he's in the same world as the listener. It's just a very different type of art style. It's a very more, it's an upbeat, almost like a buddy comedy or a buddy cop drama type of deal. You know what I mean? You've got the two characters that are feeding off one another. Really excited about that. We've also like to talk about real fast, Mr. Hull. He's got a variant coming out that'll be available in the UK for his store that Kyle Willis did for 2 win-win sweep. We're really excited about that for him. And then let's see, where are we at on time, Kevin? What we got going on? What time is it? It's 7:54.
Yep, we can play it by ear. We're a little bit less than 30 minutes or right at 30 minutes away from the game. So if there's anything else you guys want to cover, you're more than welcome. You have time. And then we'll, like I said, about 5 or so minutes before the game, we'll start bringing the rest of the game players in, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Do you want to so I got to send the script to Adam for the book 3. I'm working on panels for book 3 already. So if that says anything to you guys that are back in the book's already done. Just so you guys know, I haven't covered that in this video yet. Book 2 is done. We normally have our books done. Well, I say normally, but we do have our books. There's no normal about it. Our books are always done before they go to the Kickstarter. There is no waiting. You know, I think it took me 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks at most to get all the comp books out, all the the blank covers to the artists. One big thing we're doing, and we can talk about real quick, since we were talking about add-ons, is Adam. I know maybe doing one. I know he's doing at least one a variant cover, so that's exciting. And then we've got Eric will probably do 1 or 2 blank covers. I know he's got an original piece that he's doing, which is really exciting right now. Do you know what size that's going to be, Eric? That's a really big piece, huh?
Initially, I was thinking on the same size of the cover that we have,
okay,
but we can go double
for sure. So that is our one of the biggest pieces that we're doing. Our add-ons is a $500 original mixed media piece by Eric, and that'll be a one of a kind, of course. And then I know David Acampo is also doing. He's doing blank covers as well for $75 a piece. You guys will be able to snag those and add those onto your Kickstarter. Like I said, all this stuff is an add-on. We've got the tribes, which is our biggest tier, which is $350 for the tribes, the tribal gathering, and that's one of every cover that we've done so far. A T-shirt, the soap, the dice, the whole 9. You know, you guys get all the stuff with that. And then we've got Marissa's covers. Oh, well, I'll show you guys Marissa's cover. For those of you who haven't seen it, it came out pretty phenomenal. Hold on real quick. I'll show you guys that one. Application window. Here we go. You guys see that? Or no?
He looks great, eh?
Hold on, I think I did it wrong. Give me a second, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Screen. Tire screen. I share. All right, so Marissa's cover, she did a cover of Lawn, and it came out just beautiful. I mean, what a stunning piece. So it'll go to Gwen to get Gwen to color it. Gwen has done several covers of ours so far, and this just came out absolutely phenomenal. So that'll be available, and that'll be in the $20 tier. One thing that a lot of people have asked, and is very important to understand about the listener, is every variant we do, with the exception of Virgins, is $20. So if you go to, we're going to commercial. Shoot the commercial, go.
All right, a couple things real quick. As Dustin mentioned, this is also brought to you by Inked Marketing. This is just another quality Kickstarter that we've put together again with Dustin. We enjoy working with creators all over the world to be able to do this, and it's just really, like I said, an honor and a blessing to be with such a creative team on this. And look for more coming from Inked Marketing. And when we're talking about the business of comics, as Inked Marketing is into, we're also going to talk about the business of comics from our buddy Chris over at Homebrewed Comics. So he's going to have a show as well, premiere. It's going to be on the 21st, so it's right around the corner. Be sure to look for that. You can tune into that on the NSC network as well, and will be part of the NSC Road Tour. So you'll be able to see Chris on that, and you get a lot more out of that. And back over to you guys.
Welcome back, everyone. I know you guys you missed us. I love the NSC Road Tour. I love the concept of artists assisting one another, in bettering each other. It's almost like, how can you make one another better? And if you reach out to each other and we learn from one another, it's constantly just lifting each other up. So as we get further into this, and we're going to talk about the Road to Sin before we get into playing it. The Road to Sin is a tabletop RPG, not unlike World of Darkness or Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or anything like that. I've been writing campaigns for 15 years. I mean, and it seems like forever, that we've been putting these together and doing homebrew games. And, when I had a brick and mortar, selling campaigns out of the shop. And, so when we build these worlds, or when I build a world, it's just like a world that I write my comic books in. I want you guys to be immersed in the world that I've given you. There shouldn't be anything that you're questioning or worried about or not understanding. Actually, we can pop the map in behind you guys so you can see it real quick to start. Hold on. And now, there's a cool background. We'll throw that one up real. So when Winds Weep ties in with the Road to Sin, because an interesting concept to us was, how can we write a campaign alongside a comic book? How do we give you an interesting thing while not taking away from the original story itself? Thank you, Kevin. So with Road to Sin, it happens 40 years from the current events in the listener. So you'll see characters that are older and more seasoned in Road to Sin. Most of us have been around in comic books for a long time, and there are stories that we're like, where was so-and-so? Where was, Spider-Man while this whole event was happening over here? What was going on in his world? The thing about Road to Sin is I tie in all these characters that you may not see at a point in time in the listener mainstream story. Not that you have to read it. It is a standalone unit, but it's interesting to be able to showcase a side that we didn't have enough space to show in the book itself. So having a campaign with characters that you may miss or want to see was important to us. So when we start with Road to Sin tonight, we won't be using all the technical dice terms and stuff like that. We'll actually be using a simplified D10 system. So when you roll, it's by 10, and that's how we'll do it to keep it all said and done before, because trying to teach everybody how to do this in the time period that we have is not really feasible. So every Friday during the Kickstarter for the next month, I will be running a 2-hour session of Road to Sin on Friday night. I'm really excited about that. I'm happy to be able to showcase the game and show people the storytelling aspects of it. And I'm also excited to tell you guys that I've created a world where anyone can die. And I know that sounds weird to say that it's exciting, but we're to the point where we're desensitized with our heroes as well. No one can be lost. We have these characters, they'll be around forever. It's not realistic when we do these types of things. In an indie book, one of the biggest and most important things I believe is to catch your reader, to have them and embrace them and make them love your characters. And I feel like we've accomplished that so far. I feel like people are becoming vested in the characters that we've created. So if you lose a character, it's more impactful, than just going, oh, well, we've had this guy forever and we lost him, yada, yada, but he's going to be back in 2 weeks because he's a popular character. I don't want anyone to have that security. So if you lose someone in Road to Sin, they're not going to be back in the mainstream book, just so you guys are aware. So like I said, you don't have to read Road to Sin, you don't have to play Road to Sin to be invested in the listener, but it will help you. It'll help you get into the feel of things. Andres, here's you. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, you're good. Absolutely. Andres is a good buddy of mine. He does a lot of tabletop games. He's also picked up a ticket to play Road to Sin, so we're really excited about that. And tonight, I believe he's playing a medium, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
want to jump in there with one quick announcement. We were talking a while ago, so I didn't want to jump in the middle of it, but I just looked over the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter is right at roughly about 25% funded, and that happened within the first 30 minutes of the launch. So
That's exciting.
just want to throw that out there.
Hey.
So, yeah, this is going to be a lot bigger than our first Kickstarter, I think. I think we're pushing, as we're learning, as we're growing as a team, and we're showcasing more of our talents in every aspect of it. I think we're going to reach a larger crowd. So anyway, like I was saying, we'll get back to the Road to Sin. I know that we have a medium. Oscar, what are you playing tonight?
I think it's called Fowler, and I think it's like a werewolf.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're playing a Phaelon. I think Gabby's playing a Phaelon as well. So that's exciting. I know James is playing the veteran, right? Demolitionist. Somebody's making feedback.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys gotta forgive James, man. His computer's doing some stuff, and it's like midnight over there for him. So he's doing his best to stay awake, and so is Oscar. So I appreciate that. Yeah, it's late for those guys. But anyway, so we've got a medium, we've got two Phaelons, and a veteran, and those classes are interesting, guys, because most games when you start, like I know most of us are too young to be able to tell you about the very first iteration of D&D. You know what I mean? And when it first came out, though, there were very few classes, and that's the same with the listener. We have 5 classes with 3 subclasses for each of them, so you have a total of 15 different types of play that you can do, which is not fun to me because there are so many different aspects of a game like this that you can experience if you have the right build. There are areas you can go to you wouldn't be able to proceed through, so on and so forth. I think James is trying to talk. Poor James. That poor guy. He bought the coolest mic in the world, didn't he? He bought like the most awesome mic, and his computer's giving him problems. So like I said, going back into that, let me bring up the overlay for the map so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. Actually get an idea of what it looks like. So we'll be starting down here on the
talking.
There he is. He's back.
He's having a good day.
So we're starting at the bottom down here, guys, at the very bottom of the map, and that's where the actual story itself will begin. We're going to have a walkthrough for just a minute at the very beginning of the game, and then we'll get into that. And look at that. That's what the dice actually look, guys. That's just awesome. Thank you, Kevin. That's such a cool overlay. Gabby, what do you know what Brad's playing?
Who wasn't chosen yet?
We don't have a shaman.
You want to be a shaman? Sure. Okay, he'll be a shaman.
All right. So, if you guys aren't playing and would like to take some time to go take a break or whatever else, we're going to be getting together with a couple guests after we hang out and do some Road to Sin for about an hour. Like I said, feel free to do your thing. Come back. You don't even have to come back if you don't want to, but you're more than welcome to come back and hang out for the after party and whatnot. There's going to be a couple cool guests. So we'll be hanging out, like Kevin mentioned earlier. So, feel free, and we're going to start getting this Road to Sin situated. All right. So we've got. I wish I could move these screens around. Oh, I can move them around. That's awesome. That's exciting. How fancy.
The center of the Brady Bunch.
The center of the Brady Bunch. Exactly. Andreas is the TikTok master, guys. So
I wouldn't say master, but I
advantage
that.
I will buy the Dustin Bruno Square for $500.
Yeah, that's right. One day, hopefully, my square will be worth that. So anyway, what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and I sent you guys emails. Those of you that are playing with characters and whatnot, if you could pull out your emails so you have them, and because we'll be referring to them and whatnot. Hey, Adam, you know our buddy Jake LaFleur, right?
Oh yeah.
So he just snagged a virgin variant from you for this Kickstarter and cover off. So,
Actually, Jake, real quick. Actually, I just did a remark for Jake.
Sweet. Let's see it.
So it was actually on a virgin, but I just added a little bit of more blood all
Dude,
over.
that's awesome. Check that out. Can I blow him up?
Yeah, Jake's a good dude.
I was trying to blow him up. I don't know how to do that. One of these days I'll figure that out. All these fancy Kickstarter buttons and whatnot. Or atomic, not atomic, but whatever we're on. StreamYard. So anyway, for those of you that have, and thank you so much for backing us, Jake, if you're listening, I really appreciate it. I hope you saw that really cool remark that Adam just showed us. So anyway, so getting into the road to sin, right? We're going to have Brad will be back. He's playing a shaman. We've got 2 Paleods, a demolitionist, and we've got a medium. So let's get going. We'll get it started. All right. So like I said, this takes place 40 years after the events currently that you guys are reading about in the listener. We'll bring that map up so you guys can see it here in just a moment. Let's get going. All right, so you guys have all read the backgrounds to your stories. So you basically know that you've arrived in this crazy, massive tower, you know, in the middle of New York City, and you're surrounded by guards that are walking you into a large office with a Asian woman sitting at a very long dinner table-esque. You know, you've got like our meeting table, you've got like 12 seats on each side of it, and she's sitting on the very end. She's not the nicest looking lady you've ever seen. You know, she's kind of got a cranky like scowl on her face, and she's got her head up in a bun, and she's wearing like black fatigues. Definitely doesn't look like a lady that should be wearing black fatigues, but she is. She's got her boots up on the table, and she's staring at the group of you as you walk in. Give me a minute, Kevin. So let me grab. So like I said, you've got guards on all sides of you guys as you're in there, and you've got this lady that's just like eyeballing you as you walk into this office. And mind you, you guys have never met each other before, so it's a gaggle of people that have never even associated with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just looking at you like, you know, what do you need? What do you want? You know? And if you guys look around the room, it's got dudes in it, like just armed to the teeth on all sides. This massive window behind her. You know, there's nothing on the table, there's nothing on the floors, it's just black carpet, black curtains. But it's like you can see the whole skyline behind her with all the buildings below it and stuff. And she's literally just like probably the crankiest looking Asian lady you've ever seen. And they're normally nice looking. I've never seen a crazy looking Asian lady. So she's just sitting back there like, what are you guys doing? What are you know? So if you guys have a de facto, if one of you guys wants to start this up, you're more than welcome, and we'll get going.
So I'm gonna go up and introduce myself. I'm gonna try and get her on my good side since she looks very knowledgeable.
She looks very weathered almost. Like she's seen a lot of things. She's got face is real wrinkled, you know, she's like 60 years old and been through it, you know, like she's been through it, but she's got like that Sigourney Weaver, you know, I'm tough type of thing going on. You know, I've been through the mill and I've walked out maybe a little scarred, maybe a little cut up, maybe a little bloody, but I'm here, and I can handle anything we get into. So she's like, literally like, can I help you? You know, what can I assist you with? You know, I ordered, you know, soldiers, and you all don't look like soldiers.
What is she ordering soldiers for? Is what I ask her.
Okay. So she looks at you and she's like, if I have to answer that question, you're not the right group for me.
Well,
I'm gonna stand back, just kind of studying her and her actions and her movements, trying to pick up anything I can based on micro aggressions or movements.
Okay. Let me pick up my phone so I can add the dice panel for you guys so you can see it. Give me 1 second. Let me add the dice.
And are we bound or are our hands free?
You absolutely free. I mean, you guys are absolutely free. Give me 1 second. Hey, Kevin, can you help me with this dice? I'll give you the link. My phone's giving a lot of feedback when I use it. Hold on, I'll message you.
Give me a second and I'll go ahead and jump over and grab it.
I'll give you the link now. Hold on. You have to share the screen though, because I can't. It's not letting me do it. So anyway, she stands up and she's looking at all of you as a group and is literally like, "Do any of you know anything about what's going on in this world?" Now, to be fair, I left it for you guys to fill in your own backstories. So
yeah.
You know, does anybody know anything about what's going on in the world that you live in currently? No? Okay. So she's going to sit down on the edge of the table and cross her legs and look over at Andreas's character and literally ask him why are you so aloof? Didn't you want to be here? Don't you know why you're here?
You brought me here. You tell me.
I heard you were a little crazy. Is that the case?
I guess it depends on who you talk to.
Is that right? And what about the rest of you? Do you know why you were chosen to be here?
Absolutely not.
Because we're the best at what we do.
The best at what you do. What is it that you do?
What is it that you do?
I help people.
I help people. Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I help people.
What do you do, old lady?
Okay. All right. Gabby, if you'll roll, a D10 for me, there, Kevin, I'd appreciate it. 1 D10. It's the one in the very middle. It's right above the 4D6. Go ahead and clear it real quick. Hold on. Clear it real fast. We're going to have this down to a science in a minute.
Hang on, you're more used to this than me, so I'm jumping between 2 screens to do this.
Can you grab my dice, just in case?
Well,
they're right.
clear. Okay, it's cleared out. All right.
So just the D10 in the middle.
The one right in the middle. Got it?
Right in the middle. That's the only one we're going to use tonight. The one right there in the middle.
Okay, the D10. All right.
So, yeah, all
right.
All right, so nat 10. All right. Nice. So Gabby rolls a nat D10, and she's like, you know, it's basically like the woman stood up and tried to get tough with Gabby, and Gabby's just like, whatever, I don't give a shit. You're not intimidating me. You're not frightening me in any way, shape, or form. So she looks at you. I can't believe you rolled a nat 10. Anyway, so she looks over at you both, and then she looks over at Oscar, and she's like, I need your help. You know, I need your help. I know why you're here. I know who you are. and she turns around, and out of nowhere, this big surly-looking dude comes up and hands her a bunch of folders, and she throws the folders on the table, and they all slide across, and your pictures slide out of the folders in dossiers and information on each of you.
Whoa. Are they good pictures of us?
They're real good, I promise.
To catch my silhouette.
Are they like?
You know,
Is my mugshot in there?
your mugshot might not be in there.
Okay, good.
But
she's got my full attention now.
She's got your attention. That's good. So she walks over to. I don't know if we lost James or not. I don't know if he's hanging in or his internet connection is absolute shit. All right, so we've got James back. So she walks up to James and she's like, "Are you going to make sure they get to where they need to go?"
Right, it keeps dying on me.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. No,
it's because you have that AR-15 microphone over there, man.
It's taking all the
That thing's
power.
impressive.
Crazy Mike, I got there. All right. So anyway,
Delta.
Just message me when you answer me, James, and I'll take care of it, brother. So we're gonna bring Connor in. Connor's here. Connor,
Hello.
Did you grab a character, Connor? Did Kevin send you the sheets?
I'm sorry, what?
Did Kevin send you the character sheets?
I believe so. I just had it open. I have like a bunch of stuff open. Hold on.
No worries, no worries. So anyway, just hop in when you get a minute, and we're going to consider you guys here anyway. So go ahead and just get your stuff together, and you're good. So anyway, she's going to walk up, and she's going to put her hand on Andreas's shoulder and look him in the face and ask him if he's ready to make sure that everybody gets what they need out of this. And mind you, what you guys don't know, above board, it's going to be kind of funny. So we'll go ahead and we'll get your reaction, Andreas. We'll see what's going on.
I'll look at her and say exactly what are we needing protection from.
Can someone send me the character sheets? I can't seem to find it in my messages.
Hold on. I'll get it for you. Give me a second. So anyway, she looks at you and she's like, "Well, don't you know about the missing people? Didn't you read the document?" And she looks back at the guy that brought her all these documents and she's like, "Does no one ever get what I send them?"
I live on a farm, so no.
On a farm? You don't get mail on a farm?
Absolutely not.
Kind of.
I live in Washington. I don't get mail. What are you talking
My
about?
name is Hermit, and I don't get any mail.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
That is correct.
We've found the sarcastic one, have we? This is the hermit that gets no mail.
But I get the work done.
But you get the work done. Okay, I got you. All right, so good grief.
I read as much as I could on the flight over, but you guys picked me up off the side of a mountain, so you can't expect too much as far as mail goes.
Absolutely. All right. So
is she aware that the group that she picked is an absolute train wreck?
Yeah. Is she aware that none of us get mail?
And we don't
Who is
work
she
well
sending
together.
this to?
What is wrong with these people?
I question her leadership skills.
Yeah.
Would you
She
question
didn't add any postage.
I live in the wild, me, so you know.
She turns around and she sits back down on the table and she's like, "This is a joke. They've brought me a brain dead psychic, hyperbole furball, and a couple people that don't even talk to me. This is not how this stuff is supposed to work. How did he manage these type of people? I just don't even understand what's going on right now." So go ahead, bro.
I'm assuming I'm pretty sophisticated because I'm a shaman. So I'm just gonna walk up to her and be like, "Look, help a dude out. What are we doing?"
All right.
I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Do me a favor and roll me one of those D10s. Sir.
Yes.
If you roll a nat one, oh my god.
The best.
Okay, so we got a nat 10 and a nat 1 already out of the way. All right. First, she's going to spin and she's going to plant her. She's going to grab your arm with her left hand, and then she's going to plant her elbow into your shoulder blade from behind, and then she's going to lay your face, not quite so gently, onto the table with all the dossiers. And on that table, on that particular dossier that you land on your face, is a picture of a woman that's been torn limb from limb in the snow. That's what you're here for. I'll help a brother out.
I'm gonna go over and just start like going through all the folders and what all we have to do. Because this lady is not happy with us, and I'm assuming we're getting paid, and that's what I want.
Okay, so everybody is getting paid, and that is fair. I am going to email this to Kevin real quick so he has the sheets, and we'll get Connor another sheet. Give me 1 second. I know I sent them to you guys. Let me just look up my emails to you guys. Hold on, guys.
I'm sure you did, but with all the prep work we had going into it, I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I can either jump in or I can sit this one out and just work the board because there's enough going on. So it's up to you.
Did I send you a hold on.
I just don't want to jar anything loose because if I jump out of the screen now, it may jump to the other screen with emails.
Absolutely. All right. So
I'll stay out and I'll run the dice board and jump in at other times when needed.
What kind of character do you like to play, Connor?
Well, I've been playing D&D recently, and I went with a good old-fashioned ranger.
Okay.
A Kalash Tar Ranger specifically.
Gotcha. All right. So what I'm gonna do is, what don't we have? Let me give you a. Yeah, this will be funny. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but you can give me anything though.
You got one for that? That's the writer? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm also playing a bard.
He's like, not the writer again.
Kevin, I'm sending you this real quick so you can email it to him, just so I can.
If I get bumped, don't get.
You're not gonna get bumped. You're all right.
Okay,
so,
let's see.
Anyway, so you're gonna find, Gabby, on these documents are news clippings of numerous people that have been murdered in a mountain resort where people are supposed to get to go visit, live off the land, hunt elk and be, men's men for a little while, and on it is, in one of the documents, is an image that looks like almost what you would assume would be like a Sasquatch, but it looks like to you, or to any of you guys that are looking at these documents, if you're sharing amongst each other, that it may be a doctored document. Nowadays, no one believes in anything. So it may not be real. It could be photoshopped. So now you've got this document in your hand with all these different pictures of, bodies strewn everywhere, and now you've got this would-be Sasquatch picture in your hand. And then you've got a old Chinese lady that's like busted moves on your buddy here. So, and she's still holding him there while she's talking to you about, all these hikers that have gone missing and these people that have just been literally massacred. How do we react to the idea that there's actually in this day and age, because we're in modern time in this story, so how do we know, what is real and what's not? So
does the newspaper clipping have a writer to it?
A writer?
Yeah, like where it's like the person that wrote that article.
Yes, absolutely.
Is he in town?
He would not be in the town you're in. No. Absolutely.
Well, how does he know?
Well, how does he know? So So
We know it's doctored.
right, he's doctored images. Okay. Anyway, so she's like, look, I need you guys to go and investigate this particular, missing persons report. The police are giving up. I don't believe the listener would want us to give up. And some of you have a background that may know who the listener is, others may not.
Gotcha.
So you guys have got a small town in the mountains of Montana where people have gone missing. The government's been unable to identify a culprit, and there are visitors who are refusing to leave because they're thrill seekers. So we need you guys to go and remove the people that are there and find out what is killing these people.
I say we just go for it. We're getting paid. Let's do this.
Who's standing like closest to me in this group?
Currently, you've got Andreas and Oscar that are close by. I love that. Gabby's not intimidated. Mad funny. So, you've got Andreas and Oscar, and then that are closest to you, and then you've got Connor and James that are a little bit further back.
Okay, I lean to whoever's closest, and I'm like, "Are you a detective?" I start getting suspicious of everyone around me.
Andreas is actually dressed in suit and tie, so that may be the smartest person to ask if they're a detective there in the, so I'll let you have that one.
Okay. Are you a detective?
Well, I have. This character sheet I have is all features, right, and traits.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I have the Path of the Wolf that gives me a heightened ability to detect.
Okay.
I could be considered detective in that sense.
I mean,
okay.
I don't know if that's quite what she meant by that.
Okay.
I'll take it.
I'm trying to catch up while reading these.
I feel you. So,
but I'm not a detective now.
Okay. Well, I'm giving whoever it has better detective skills the leadership of this group.
So, are you saying that verbally, or are you just thinking that?
Oh no, I'm saying that out loud. It's like whoever, because I'm just the muscle.
Okay, so the lady is going to turn and look at you all and be like, "It's time to go." The suit is in charge.
Okay then.
So now you've got this dude that is literally, take it easy, Adam. It's always a pleasure, brother.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Night. Have fun.
Absolutely. So you've got this big old burly dude that is now walking behind you guys and ushering you, like literally telling you, the lady's had enough of her time wasted with the group of you. It's time to get to work. She's tired of messing with you guys.
I reckon we're wasting too much time in here, and we should get out and start looking for answers somewhere else.
I motioned to Gabby to grab the information that she's laid out on the killings and the newspaper clippings. This way I can look them over.
Okay. So now Brad is rescued. He is no longer in the love lock.
I grabbed the paper that's most likely stuck to my face because I was there so long.
I agree with that. That's probably the paper you've got there tagged to your face. I'm with you.
That's the key information right there.
Key information is on your face, my friend. So, and he's literally watching you all go. One thing that you guys that I didn't touch on, not everybody plays tabletop RPGs or anything, but I would always make sure that when I'm in a space, I would roll perception. Just call for a perception roll at any time. If you're departing, if you're arriving, just so there are things you may catch. And that's a point in the listener road to sin. And we'll stop every now and then to talk about some things because it's important for people to understand the aspects of the game. So one key point is most campaigns are a mystery with the road to sin. Most campaigns that we put out are murder mysteries. It's not always hack and slash, beat down type of gameplay. So we want to make sure that you guys are paying attention to your surroundings and what you see. And feedback is always appreciated in these games. Like I said, we've got 8 hours of gameplay, guys, total before the end of the Kickstarter. So I want to make sure that you guys get all your feedback and all your thoughts and stuff like that as we're going through it. Anyway, so he's walking you out to this helicopter, that's each of you came in a different way, but he's walking you out to this helicopter, to this MH-60 Blackhawk, and Lee waves at you as you guys are walking away. For those of you that have read The Listener, Lee, we just met the listener. We met Lee in book 1 of The Listener. She's now a 68-year-old woman. So it's very exciting that we were able to tie these characters in, like I mentioned before. All right, so as you guys get out to the helipad, the helicopter's going. Is everybody going to get, on the helicopter? Are we going to have any crazy issues or anything before we get on the helicopter? I'm just checking. I want to make sure you guys get to, the full experience. If we're going to kick the dude behind us in the nuts or something, I need to know ahead of time. So,
nope, we're good.
I already got beat up. I'm getting on the helicopter.
So everybody's getting on the helicopter. We've got Connor on the helicopter. We've got Oscar. Everybody's getting on. So now, as you guys are lifting off, and you see this beautiful city at night, there's this big old dude, like I mentioned, is in the helicopter with you and is sitting with you guys. And he introduces himself as Devereaux, and Devereaux is your handler. Now, the handler is a very important part of Road to Sin and the campaign going forward for the game. It's almost like your quest giver in a D&D type of situation. You want to make sure your handler stays alive because he's your immediate contact with Lee throughout the campaigns. And if you need money or you need equipment, that's the dude that you want to be able to be like, hey, look, he's still alive. Got to get his help for this situation. Anyway, so he introduces himself as Devereaux, and he points at the pilot and says, that guy's name is Sparrow, and he begins walking you through the op. We'll be landing outside the CMZ. The weather will prevent us from getting much further than 4 miles out. You'll have to walk the rest of the way into town and meet with our contact. His name is Jeremiah Weedler. Nothing out of the ordinary. His dossier is in the duffels. He nods toward the bags under your seats where you're sitting, which are full of equipment, and each of your character sheets will have equipment listed. So, no questions? I'm good to go? No one's going to ask him anything? Or?
What was the guy's name that was taking us?
All right, so you have Devereaux is your handler.
Okay.
So, he's just letting you guys know that you'll be landing outside the CMZ and that, everything you need will be in the bags under the seats.
Okay.
I'm going to actually pull out the bag and start looking through it, see what
Those are your actual equipment bags. Like I mentioned, for your character sheets, they're all the equipment for your character is listed in that bag. That's where you would pull out your equipment from. So each of the characters will have starting equipment, and that's those at the beginnings of the campaigns. Not to say that you won't get more equipment, but that's where the equipment starts from.
Just extra clothes and essentials.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it says essentials for your character, it would be like, for like the veteran, it would be, more ammunition. It would be stuff that you could refill your grenade slots with, stuff like that. Whereas,
okay, like that essentials, not like a toothbrush.
No.
Okay.
Whereas Oscar, playing a Phalanx, would have extra clothes, like actual clothes, because he fights in this, vulpine form, so he's got, he tears his clothes up and stuff. Realistically, that's what's going to happen. He's going to be running around like big naked furry werewolf guy, just like Gabby's going to be furry werewolf thing. You know what I mean? So you got to have clothes, so because it's cold. I mean, you can do the furry thing all you want all the time, but probably wouldn't look good to people that don't have any clue as to what's going on in these situations. Now, that being said, there also will be events where your own teammates have no idea what the hell that is. They have no clue what's going on. So they're literally going to be like, wow, what? Anyway, so now we're on the helicopter. You're looking at he handed you guys the dossier for Wheeler. There's nothing out of the ordinary in it. He's been arrested once or twice for misdemeanor charges, mostly poaching on other people's property. So a couple hours pass and you guys arrive. You're in the mountains. It's snowing like crazy. You can barely see outside the helicopter. The helicopter is going to sit down in the middle of the road and blow the snow out so you guys can actually get out of the helicopter. Now a voice is going to flare to life in your earbuds because you actually have comms now. They were in your bags. So Devereaux is speaking through the comms and he's letting you know, follow the road north and you'll run into the lodge. We will meet you there. Stay in radio contact. We'll be back in 3 days to get you. Let's make sure it's all of you. Happy hunting. So now you've got this guy that is, holding the door open as he's speaking to you guys and about to close it. The helicopter is about to lift off. All right. Nobody? We're good.
All right. So what's on the sides of the roads? Is it forest? Is it open?
All right. So let's bring up the map real quick, and you guys can check it out. So here is the map overlay. So you guys, well, that was not the one I wanted. There we go.
That's a beautiful overlay.
Spoilers.
Right. Well, no, that was me and Kevin screwing around with people dying, and we were putting
Okay.
on the map. We're learning how to use StreamYard. You know what I mean? It's a new thing for us too. So you start at the very south, below that first bridge, which is by that little river.
Okay.
You guys are down there, and that's where the helicopter has left you. You're about 5 miles from the Hunter's Lodge. Okay? Mind you, you can't, when you play games, tabletop games, you have what's called above board knowledge. Okay? Since you guys can see the map, you can't use the knowledge of being able to see the map in the game.
Yeah.
All right? So now that you guys are down, helicopter's lifted off, the snow's starting to fall real hard. So you've got the river on your left-hand side, and you've got a forest on your right-hand side. How do you proceed?
I guess we should just move north.
Well, let's roll a perception, see what we got around.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That pro tip earlier.
For sure. Kevin, can you get us a D10 roll, please? It keeps muting you, Kevin. I don't know why you're the only person muted. That's weird.
Because I'm sharing my screen, so I'm muting myself. So I can,
gotcha, for sure.
And hang on, let me get this screen out of there because you've got the overlay on. I need to remove the overlay off.
My fault. Yeah.
That's okay.
Right,
There we go.
Overlay's off.
And then let's get back to. Here we go. See, we're learning. We're learning together.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. That's what this show's all about, right?
Right. Absolutely. We're all listening.
Okay.
All right. So we rolled a 5. All right. And that perception roll was done by the medium, as far as I'm aware, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a medium's roll for perception. So now you've got in front of you, it's easy to see the road leading north. Okay. Now, mind you, you can't see that bridge from where you're standing because it's a ways out from where you are. So you can see the road. You can see the direction the road's going. You can see the river to your left. You can see the trees to your right. It doesn't look like anything weird or out of the norm is going on in this particular situation. Now, there are interesting things to note about the fact, though, that there are no sounds. There's no sounds. Like you can hear the wind and stuff like that, but there's no other sounds around you.
But we are in the middle of a snowstorm, yes.
That's true.
So
true. There's nothing to be heard but the wind howling. It is uncomfortable snow. It is not freezing yet. If you look to the left and right, like I mentioned before, anywhere near where the helicopter wasn't pushing snow aside, you're looking at almost thigh-high snowbanks.
Mm.
And it's coming down steadily right now.
I get it. To come get us.
Check the bags. I want to check the bags and see. We have a marker on or a destination where we're supposed to be headed towards. Yes.
Yes, you're supposed to be heading toward the north to the actual Hunter's Lodge, which is where the vacationers are. So you're going that way to meet with your contact, Jeremiah Weidler. And like I said, it's about a 5-mile trek.
All right, at that point, I'd motion all of us to start heading north.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
So our bags have our equipment in them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can
So,
I get a list of that equipment in the private chat? I don't think it's on my character sheet.
It should be. Hold on. Let me bring it up real quick.
I have the warrior sheet.
Hold on.
Okay, you need the character sheet. She has things she can do.
While he's doing that, I got a little something for you guys. This is taken out of my own backyard, so here's a little bit of to give you some snow reference for how you're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm south of Chicago right now. We're supposed to be getting another foot.
So there you go.
That's
there's
Alaska right now.
Yeah, every time Connor says Alaska, I just think of this. I mean, my God, like this wilderness of just ice and tundra and bears and just super cool stuff.
Well, I live in the city. I was born and raised in like a more rural area, but right now I live in the city. So,
but you got to go with the story, man. Like, yeah, no, I'm from Alaska. I'm like, have to drive like 100 miles to get gas. I mean, you got to go with that.
So one thing about that, it's in the chat, Connor. One thing about that we've done with the listener that I find that people have issues with in tabletop games is keeping up with ammunition. It's always an issue where people, how many shots they have in a gun, how many, how keeping up with their spell rotations and stuff in certain games. So the listener has a different way of keeping up with your equipment. Like each character has a rest type of ability. Like instead of sleeping, you have like a meditation or a thought process, or using the veteran is really easy because it has a basically. So but you have a whole whatever. I'm not messing with you right now. So you have like the veteran has like a cache, like CACHE, where he can go and refill his weapons and refill his grenades and stuff at any given point. But he has to spend the time to go do so.
Okay.
It's basically like you're praying if you're talking D&D, if you're a cleric or something like that. You're going back and you're resting and re-preparing yourself for the situations to come. So you have everything you have basic unlimited, of what you would need to play the character. You just have to go back and forth to your rest area. You'll receive a rest area early on in each campaign. Like here, you'll get your own cabin that you guys will all share in this particular campaign. So going forward, now you guys are moving north, and the snow's coming down. It's getting colder. Now you're seeing this bridge in front of you. This over the river, through the woods to Grandma's house we go type of thing. And it's on the verge of your vision. You're just barely getting to see where this bridge is through the snow. And I'll let you guys continue from there.
Are we able to see how late is it? Is it super dark out?
It's dark, yeah. It's like the only light. So the cool thing is, and I'll say this, and I'm very thankful once again to our artists and stuff that work with our teams, is every map will have an actual idea of what you should be seeing. Like it's pitch black. The only light you have are the stars and the moon right now. That's it.
So do we have the light? Do we have the light of the moon at the moment?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's Oscar and Gabby's favorite. So, you actually, if you guys pay attention, if you show certain skills, you'll get buffs for the lights of the moon and stuff like that. But anyway, going forward, yeah. So all you really got, the cool thing about being in the dark, and Connor can attest to it, in an area that snows a lot, light reflects off of snow. So you guys can see a little bit better than you would think because of the light reflecting from the snow. And
also, snow absorbs sound, so that's why it's so silent out here.
There you go.
Yep. Fresh snow absorbs sound.
For sure. So now you guys are walking toward this bridge that's on the very edge of your vision. The water is frozen on the river. So now you've got a frozen river on your left, woods to your right, and a bridge right in front of you. It's about, I don't know, 500 meters from where you're standing.
Can I just run over to the forest and look for some make torches?
I'm sorry, you cut out, Gab. You say rocks?
Rocks and sticks to make makeshift torches, because I'm sure we're all cold.
Okay. If you'd like, I'm sure you could go over and trudge through the snow that is, absolutely. You can look for some stuff. If you want to roll me a D10, Kevin, I'd appreciate it. All right. So, if you were to walk over there and look for torches, for you could find some really jacked up trees. You know what I'm saying? You could easily look and see if there were broken limbs. But low level, you're going to find that a lot of that stuff is wet. A lot of those branches and stuff are not going to work because there's been snow all over them. So they're going to be literally saturated in water. I'm sure that your veteran would probably have some, have a torch on him or whatnot. But for sake of gameplay tonight, we'll say that Connor has torches and an easy way to make them with flint, because he's a naturalist and a warrior.
My crafting, skinning trait.
Absolutely. So I'm sure he could make some torches for you guys real quick. So we'll go ahead and say now everybody's got torches, whereas the medium has got a flashlight because that's just how they treated that guy.
I'm going to be
I hope
hated.
that flashlights keep you warm.
Flashlights don't keep you warm.
Depends on what kind of flashlight. I've got some flashlights as a mechanic that get pretty damn warm.
All right. So you guys are going forward. You've got some light now. You've got a little bit of warmth. And you're no longer in any danger of taking damage from the cold, which is a thing and would happen had you not situated that at some point in time or another. So like I said, we're coming up on the bridge. You guys got a little bit of light. The one bad thing about a torch is it's also very detrimental to your vision. If you have a big burning stick, it's going to blind people closely around you, So anyway, we're getting up on the bridge, toward the bridge. We've got some light. We're a little warm. We'll continue from there.
All right. Well, the DM made me nervous by specifically mentioning that we can't see very well. So, would it make sense to use my Path of the Wolf trait to center myself, and so I can make things easier to detect and less likely to detect me?
Absolutely. By all means, please.
And I will give my torch to the medium so he can keep himself warm and the light won't give me away while I just scout this area.
All right. So can we get a roll of the D10, please?
No.
Gabby, I got that for you. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm going to get the sheet for Gabby again. Oh, there it is. You want the tank sheet, right, Gab?
Yeah.
Okay. I sent
Got it.
All right. So as you rolled a 3. All right. So I mean, you have a little bit of help. You know, you're sticking to the shadows just a little bit. You're outside of the light. So what you've got is like a +2 on your detection roll. So they'd have to roll over what your detection would be +2 to see you. So you're kind of slinked out, doing the stealthy thing a little bit. What's your plan from there?
Well, so I don't see any enemies or like in my immediate view, right?
You don't see anything in front of you except the bridge in the distance. Yep.
Except for what?
The bridge in the distance.
Okay. I'd like to kind of scout the snow to see if there's any maybe tracks.
For sure. There's absolutely not. I'm not even going to make you guys roll for that. There's absolutely nothing in that area.
Okay, then everything should be good, and I'm sorry for the tangent, and I'll head back to the group and snatch my torch right back from that medium because shit's cold.
Shit's cold. I got it. So one important thing to remember, like I mentioned before, is the listener is a very life or death situation type of game, type of story. There's nothing wrong with being careful. Absolutely, I suggest you be careful because there's situations where you'll just catch it and not even be prepared.
Since we have nothing here, I say we just get closer to the bridge.
Sounds good to me.
So before we start getting closer, I'm gonna pull my little fox that I have in my satchel out.
Okay.
And kind of like, I'm assuming I can like communicate with him, like he's been in my life my whole life.
Basically, yeah. It's
okay.
Well, it's very important to understand the spiritual nature of some of the things that we're talking about. You know, it's
shamans are like animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a very, very important bond that you share with.
Isn't that like their religion?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is that animal?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna tell him to kind of like
scout the area.
Yeah, like scout ahead, like kind of lead us forward, and if he hears anything, obviously we'll know by him like perching up.
Okay. So I sent it again, Gabby. See if you get it that time. So he's on the snow, right? You have to remember this is an itty bitty little dude. He's not like massive or anything. So
Yeah,
he doesn't like sink down into the snow very far. So moving forward, can you roll me a D10, Kevin? I appreciate it.
I swear. I thought that was a 1.
That was gonna be awesome. So, all right. So he's taking his little behind forward from you guys, and he makes this like chittering sound that you would understand, only you would understand, to mean that he was terrified to go forward. There was something in the air that he smelled that was bothering him.
Right.
Can I pet him?
I'm gonna call him back then.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna definitely let them know. I'm like, hey, he's a little bit worried about this bridge. That there's something over there.
Okay.
I want to use the lunar armor and then just check the bridge.
Okay.
Ahead.
I'm with you. So with the Luna armor, if you'll explain that to those guys so they understand what it is, because they don't have your sheet.
The alpha gains an extra 2 points of armor when he's under the light of the moon, and he also enhance the instinct protecting.
For sure. So you're moving toward the bridge. As you get closer toward the bridge, Oscar, you see a massive elk laying on the bridge. Okay. Are you at the bridge? You're a little bit before the bridge. Where are you stopping?
Just before the bridge.
Okay. So you'll start seeing the body of the elk like twitch while you're moving towards the bridge. It's almost like, you know what it looks like when a dog is shaking something from the inside? Like it's almost like something is shaking massive elk body on the bridge. Now, are you guys following him? Or are you staying behind?
I'm following.
I'd like to follow close behind him.
Yeah, we're following together as a group.
Okay. I'm down for that. So everybody's right there in front of the bridge. Now you've got this massive elk laying there. Again, Gabby is not intimidated. There is no fear. So this body is twitching on the bridge.
I'm gonna shine my flashlight out towards it.
Okay.
See if I can see anything.
Okay.
Can I? Oh.
Go ahead.
Can I do a perception on like how intimidating it looks?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll a 5. No, roll a 10. Sorry. All right. So being as someone that grew up on like a farm and around, you know, dead animals and stuff, it doesn't stress you at all. You know,
It doesn't what?
It doesn't worry you or intimidate you in the least. Now you can smell the Phaolodge would be able to smell the blood of the elk as they got closer to it, and Connor would be able, and as well as Brad would know, you know, it's an elk. You know, you guys, you have the skills to understand the background to know that that's the animal is that's laying on the bridge. Now you also know that there is signs of struggle on the bridge. Like it looks like there's blood and footprints and stuff like that, but no footprints that any of you guys would be familiar with. So, yeah. So you've got this elk that's like literally like, it looks like it's moving 4 and 5 inches. So can you imagine a full-size elk, how heavy that is, being moved back and forth 4 and 5 inches? I mean, that's 180, 200 pounds easy, just being shook like it's nothing in the middle of this bridge. And now
and we can't,
right? We're flashing.
And we can't see him.
You can see the elk being shook, and we've got the flashlight on it now. So you're waving the flashlight over it, and you're seeing the body. You're seeing wounds all over it. You know, it's cut all up. It's open. It's blood all over the place. But if you shine it up just a little bit, you notice there's a different color hair that shows up every couple seconds when it shakes.
And the bridge is between us.
You're at the foot of the bridge. It's in the middle of the bridge. So
okay. So there's no sneaking up on it.
Right. There's no way to get around behind it unless you wanted to go across the ice.
No.
I'm gonna pull out my knife just in case.
Okay. That's fair.
Just so it's ready.
I feel like Kevin would pull out his knife too. I feel like Kevin would be prepared for the situation.
I'd like to pull out my tomahawks.
Yeah, I don't want to have a situation where we're in a fight and we're all trying to reach in satchels at the same time.
So one key point about Road to Sin and every campaign for the listener is you have 2 types of action. You have a full round action and a half round action. So like a movement would be a half round action, and so would be an attack. They'd both be half round actions. So you could make 2 attacks in a turn or 2 movement actions in a turn. Just so you guys are aware. I know some of you guys didn't get that particular sheet. So anyway, you guys are all prepared. Everybody sees what's going on. And now you've got this final color hair that's showing over brown hair. You know, so you're literally seeing this shape almost like back that's coming up as it's shaking the neck. That's right. That's what you need.
Does no one have feedback on their mic?
I don't know.
I'm having a hard time hearing because I'm getting this weird echo feedback from you.
Oh, that's weird. No, I'm not hearing it, man.
I'm not hearing it from you.
No, I don't hear anything.
Shit, my bad.
All right, so now you've got this. You know, like I said, you guys know your situation. You're all prepared, and you've got this thing that's shaking this elk on the bridge. And now on either side of the bridge is frozen water. You know, so it's there's nowhere but toward you or away from you that something would feasibly go.
Now, is this thing like spectral?
No, it's like actual hair. It looks like an animal hair that's showing up behind it. Almost like if you saw like the back of a wolf as it was eating something.
Gotcha.
You know, that's what you're seeing.
I'm going to get into the bridge right at the beginning of it, and I'm gonna taunt the beast, whatever it is in the. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of like roar to see what does that do, whether it
Go
brings
ahead.
anything out.
I'm with you. Go ahead and roll me that 10 there, Kevin, please.
Oh.
I know.
Okay. So what's going to happen is you're going to see these massive talons come up over the sides of the body. And when I say massive, so I'm 5'8", 5'9". I'm not a real big guy. So but look at like double the size of my hand. Okay, is reaching up on both sides, and their hands, like shaped like hands, not like paws or talons, but shaped like hands, that are like digging into the flesh of this elk as it's pulling itself over to look at what made this crazy sound and interrupted its meal. And it looks almost like the face of a man, but it's deformed and it has no lips, and it's got these massive canines. And it's got this hair. It's covered in hair, like white hair, almost like what you would imagine a porcupine's hair to feel like if you were to touch it. You know, it's nasty, gnarly, like brittle hair all over this thing.
How long is the bridge?
The bridge is 15 feet. Not that big. That's awesome, but no, this is a little river. Nothing that amazing.
So, and you said the water's frozen, and because it's a small river, it's not that deep.
It's frozen on both sides. I don't know how deep it is.
Oh,
or you
can I walk on it?
You wouldn't know how deep it is. We'll put it that way.
Would I be able to walk on it?
You certainly could walk on it if you chose to. Absolutely.
Can I test the waters first?
Does anybody have rope?
I don't think any of you guys have rope.
Well,
no.
So moving forward, if you wanted to go across the side and step on the ice, you would feel that it broke easily under your feet.
So we're gonna choose but to go to the bridge.
So
I'd like to cast up Wailing Shield just to cover our bases. Basically, I let out a scream forming a barrier 10 by 10 around the medium. So if everybody's within that 10 by 10, I've got you covered.
For sure. Now, one important thing about your character, you know that no one else can see. You know what I'm saying? So I got you, Connor. Hold on. So now you've got this barrier around you. You've been informed about the barrier above board. So now you've got the barrier up. Oscar has basically challenged this thing on the bridge. And Gabby has tested the ice on the side of the bridge. It broke when she tried to step on it. So now you have this situation where you've got this thing is now very aware that you're there. You know, there's no question about it's no longer just snacking on, man, what was that thing called back in the day when we were kids? Oh my gosh. The elk. It was the squirrel and the elk.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
There you go. We're not eating Bullwinkle anymore. Now we're paying attention to everybody that's in front of us. So now you've got.
Is anyone on the bridge?
Oscar is just on the bridge, just on the
bridge.
Well, my computer died, so my worksheet is or my character sheet is gone. But I have a skill that lets me make a crack in the ground towards an enemy. Would that break the bridge?
I assure you, that would probably break the bridge. I can assure you, wholeheartedly.
Well, can I interject and be keep in mind, there's no other way around this river. The bridge.
Feel free.
Yeah.
If you see a party member start to do some shenanigans,
and we're trying to track this thing and catch it.
I tested the ice and it breaks.
How high up over the water is this bridge?
About 6 foot. It's a normal, like an old school bridge. It's been there for a really long time. It's beat up. It's You know, the wood is not the best. You know, it's not like it's new construction or anything. You know, you guys probably could break it fairly easily if you really made the attempt to do so.
They hired us. We can't get over a bridge.
So,
All right, so we've got someone taunted. We got the shield up. We're all just kind of like, what the fuck are we doing, basically, right now? Yeah.
Basically.
I'd like. No, go ahead.
you
Go ahead.
Can I just make like a running jump for it? See if I can land that 15 feet.
you're going to try to
Are
jump.
you going to change your form?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, absolutely.
Hey, while she does this, question about my character sheet.
Please.
For the shaman, is there an amount? I don't know if I have an older one or like the correct one. I think I do. Is there an amount for the astral energy points and stuff?
At the very bottom of your sheet, there should be a number.
There is not.
Okay, hold on. But I didn't give you guys the new one. Give me 1 second. I'll send it to you. Yeah. So wow, that's bad.
Heard that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on. Let me open the shaman sheet real quick, and I'll see if I missed it or not. Yeah, I have a new one. Hold on, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, you just forward it to Gabs.
Absolutely. I'm on it. So she's going to attempt to jump over the bridge or jump over the stream while I'm emailing this. And that's a really easy jump to make for a Phalod. So it's only 15 feet. If you want to make that jump, you can certainly make that without any question whatsoever.
Bet. And that's what I'm going to do.
All right. So you're across on the other side. Now, this thing is paying attention to Oscar because Oscar that's basically what it looks like, but it's not made of steel. I'm with you. So Oscar is.
I'm trying, man.
Well, for sure.
on the fly.
I appreciate that. It's awesome.
You got to use your imagination. It's wood, but it's steel looking in nature.
There you go. I got you. So I sent the sheet for you, Brad.
Thank you.
We got it.
You're very welcome. So now you've got Oscar's got its attention. Gabby has jumped to the other side, and is literally like, I don't know, 10 feet away from this thing.
Okay.
So it's literally like, but it's only paying attention to Oscar because of the ability he used. He taunted it. So it's facing Oscar.
Ooh, so it's facing away from me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't think stealth is one of my.
No, I definitely don't think stealth is one of your fortes.
Is there a dead set height for my wall of earth or width?
So what we've done, because this is us testing the game. Right now you have, I think it was. Hold on, let me bring up the sheet. So right now you get a 10 by 10 space. Okay.
Okay.
So and it's made of mud. It's nothing super strong at the moment. So what you would do is, if you wanted it to be longer, you could do that, or you wanted it to be taller, you could do that, but it takes away from that particular 10 by 10 space.
Okay. So if I drop 5 height, it could go 5 length.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, mind you, some of these actions, like I mentioned before, take full turns. You know what I mean? So it would be a channeling action to make a wall of earth, or wall of mud in your case currently. So it wouldn't be the strongest thing, but it would be inside of the barrier that was already created by your medium.
Should we try and talk to this thing?
I'm not telling you not to.
By the way it looks.
If you guys can communicate with it, sure, try it.
Can I do like a perception to see if he looks like aggressive towards us?
Not while you're making a wall of mud.
Oh, I'm not going to do that yet.
Okay, I'm with you. So can you roll me a D10 there, Kevin, please?
We have 1 again.
It's a what?
Oh,
Nice.
I got 2 decent rolls. This is my peak.
There you go. So it perception wise, this is a being that it looks like it has like an animal's level of intelligence. It doesn't look like it's like it may be humanoid in nature, but it doesn't look like it has the intelligence of a man or something that could communicate with a human being, like an intelligence of that level. It's a primal intelligence versus a intellectual intelligence.
Well,
Could we try
I'm
this
good.
way?
can I try to communicate with it?
By all means,
I mean, if I can communicate with animals pretty well as a shaman,
I'm with you.
let's see if this works.
I think that's worth a shot. That's a good one.
yeah.
Okay.
But I'm gonna keep my knife ready.
Shot. Are you going to talk from within the barrier and behind the Phalot, or are you going to walk in front of Oscar?
I'm gonna like scoot a little bit, but not too far, like
Okay.
just in
I
case.
love those units of measurement. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, just over this way, just a little bit.
If the barrier's 10 feet, I'll scoot like 12 feet forward.
Okay. I'm with you. So you're literally standing in front of Oscar. So now you're about 5 feet away from the thing. Okay. So are you? Hey, you. What's up, buddy? How's dinner? What's up? I mean, what do you got?
I'm gonna look at him and be like, hey,
Move.
can
Get
you
out.
understand me? I'm just gonna full on ask if it can like understand.
Okay. So it's going to literally reach its head up and just grunt at you. Like it has no idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
Spittle is literally going to hit you.
I've been in that situation in the woods, and this is my normal reaction to that.
That's where the rifle comes in. Yeah. There you go.
I'm with it.
I cast knife.
I cast knife. Absolutely. So Spittle is literally going to fly all over you. Deer blood, just nastiness and gore is going to be like all over your frontal. It's like, when
Is it standing its ground or is it moving towards Brad?
it is not moving toward Brad. It is like it is perched up on its arms now.
Still, yeah, okay.
But now you can better see the size of this thing. It's about 6'3", going on 300 pounds is what you're looking at.
Well, that's terrifying.
So I'm basically.
Well, hey, look, now that's me,
like a
okay?
bear.
So I mean, to be fair, all right, was 6'4" before the wreck. Now I'm 6'2", and yeah, I'm like 300 pounds of fun. So, I'm not scared of much.
Right. Absolutely.
Not that this was mimicked after me in any way.
For sure. How funny.
I'm only
So-
5'7", so
All right, so now its turn is in existence now. So we've all committed a form of action or another. So it is going to turn and leap over the railing into the water, break through the ice, and swim.
go.
Cool.
So
Thumbs
you
up.
guys, you guys have options now. Are you going to follow it?
I just turn around and I'm like, thumbs up. I'm like, we're good. I'm just like, it
How,
worked.
how fast is it running?
It's in the water. It is under the water.
Oh, it's swimming.
It's under the ice.
Oh.
Can we tell which way it swam off?
Absolutely. It would have been going east from your direction. So if we pull up our map,
Right or left?
it's your right.
That would be right, yeah.
You're going to your right is where it's going. And you guys can either follow it, like there you go. You guys can follow it between the trees. But Gabby, are you going to move or anything? Because you guys aren't in a turn right now, so you have free reign to do what you want. Are you just going to stand there on the side of the thing? Because you can, if you roll a perception, you might be able to find something interesting.
And I will roll a perception.
Let's roll perception. Kevin, can I get a 10, please?
Damn it.
Okay, what'd you roll? You rolled a 1? What was that? Was that a 1? I didn't see it. What'd you get?
I got a 4.
Okay, so you got a 4. This is an easy one. There's actually, you can see, because remember I mentioned the snow is so deep. You can actually see footprints in the snow.
Ooh. Are they like human footprints?
No, they're massive footprints that thing left, and it's coming from, where the tree line was. So you guys can choose to follow the footprints that you found. You can let them know, and you can go into the tree line, or you can continue moving forward.
Just a quick heads up on time. We're right at about 10 minutes left of the sample session.
Awesome.
So I'm going to cross the bridge since but before crossing fully, I'd like to take a closer look at the elk that's still there. I'm assuming it's still there, yes?
For sure. Absolutely.
Okay. I'd like to study what's going on with the elk.
Absolutely. So can we get a 10 there, Kevin, please? Awesome. So you're going to find that it's been eviscerated. Like it's like if Connor were to walk up with you, or Gabby were to walk up with you, or Brad, because of his background as well, you would notice that it's completely like eviscerated, almost like it was field dressed from the inside out.
So you're saying I can use it to craft something?
I like your thought.
No, for sure. If you have the time, or the wherewithal to do so, you certainly could.
I don't think we got the time. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure. So now there's this. It's all cabinet. Like everything has been eaten out. Anything that's like of nutritious value is gone. The heart, the liver, the lungs. All that stuff has been removed. But there are massive like teeth, like the size of like an index finger, that are embedded in it where they broke off, or it's been eating its way through this thing.
I'm going to pick up a couple of the teeth.
Okay. So there's 4 teeth. So you're welcome to pick up the 4 teeth you find, and you can pocket those for sure. I would jot that down. That you pocketed 4 teeth. So now you've got the 4 teeth. You guys are all healthy. No one's been beat up or anything. You've got like I said, you've got footprints that you could track into the woods. You've got the river you could follow that it swam underneath. And then you've got the road going toward where your contact is.
I'm leaning towards heading up the river.
Contact.
Okay, so you guys are going to have to make a decision then, because one of you wants to go toward the contact, the other one wants to go toward the river. So, what's the team vote? What do we got going on?
Well, if we cross the bridge and stay on the west side of the river and follow it up as far as we can, that might be a good idea. Try and at least catch a glimpse of it. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'll chase the creature.
All right.
So, while standing next to it, there's not a single piece of meat left, like on this thing.
Oh, there is. On the outside, anything that wasn't of nutritious value, like the outer skin and the hair and stuff, and was left. The inside is almost like somebody went in there and scooped it out with an ice cream scooper.
Gross.
So I'm gonna use my knife then, and I'm gonna cut off a few pieces of meat in case we run into this thing again.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, like.
I would definitely jot that down. That you took a few strips of meat off the elk. I'm down for that.
Throw the meat in my bag on top of the fox.
This guy is, Bowie knife here. He's going to take somebody out. Okay. So if you guys are going to follow the river, all right. Now, if you're going toward the river, you've got the tree line on both sides. You've got about 5 foot of walking area on both sides of the river before you're in the tree line.
Can I look at the pictures that the lady gave us of all the dead people?
You can.
Are they like hollowed out like this poor elk?
They are completely hollowed out. Like everything under the ribs has been like almost like I said, you took an ice cream scooper and just scooped everything under the ribs out.
Okay, so the elk and the photos of the dead people are all have died the same way.
Absolutely.
Were there teeth left in the other corpses?
For sure.
Ooh. So this guy loses a lot of teeth. He must be old.
He might be old.
Or
Or
he's just
similar to sharks where they keep
Or
growing
is-
them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, one key thing to remember, and it's a key selling point about the listener story and Road to Sin is I try to keep very true to the theologies that we're following. You know what I'm saying? We try to stay very close to as close as I can to how people believe things would be. You know, and I just change them for a modern tale. You know.
Andreas, have you rolled a perception check like on the teeth?
I have not. It's actually a good point. Let's roll a perception on the teeth.
Can we get, and just for you guys, it would be more beneficial for Connor or Brad to roll a perception because their background on those.
Yes.
So
All right.
A 10. We have very little time left, so if we could get one more 10 in there, I'd greatly appreciate it, Kevin.
Oh.
No.
I've had horrible dice rolls.
Well, there's nothing interesting that you can see on those teeth.
They're
you want
just
to try
teeth.
and roll a perception?
They're just teeth.
I guess I'll try to look at the teeth.
All right, we get one more D10 roll.
That's gonna hit 2 7s. Now it's gonna be bad too.
You're very negative for a shaman. All right.
Okay. So it's not canine. It's not anything that you've ever seen. It's not like a cat. But it's very large, almost. It doesn't have anything that looks like anything familiar. Not even like a bear tooth, but it's thicker than a bear canine.
Is it? Can I ask questions about it?
Please, by all means, ask him. I mean, that's.
Is it like dense, like heavy, suggesting
Absolutely.
suggesting that like it took a while to grow?
I would think.
Okay, so it's not like a shark tooth.
Nope, I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
So I think we should follow him definitely, since it's like the same
Okay.
thing, like photos or whatever. And it can swim, so
I'm with you.
weird.
Can we get someone to maybe do a perception on the smell of the area?
Well, that would be your Phaolod there. The other one is gone, so you have one Phaolod left. So
Cool. Well, then I will do a perception check.
can you get me a 10 there, Kevin, please? One more. And this will be the last roll we do for the evening, guys. Well, I thought it was going to be a 1. Much better than a 1.
Take it.
It's got the smell. It's very metallic in the air. You know, like it's, there's a lot of blood in the air right now. There is a faint humanoid smell, like a human being smell from the tooth. Now, whether that's it ate a human or it's part human is, up for discussion. But with that, guys, that'll be the end of this session of Road to Sin. I really appreciate all the viewers who hung out with us, as well as our guests. And don't forget, Friday coming up, we'll be back into the Road to Sin. Everybody's welcome to come hang out. And we're doing that once a week. Well, twice this week because of which week it is. But after that, it'll be once a week until the end of the campaign. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you for tolerating me, Kevin, and my buttons.
No, it was awesome, man. Thanks for
A lot
having
of
me.
fun.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being here. We're gonna do a commercial though, real quick, and then we'll give you guys an outro. Can't hear you, Kevin. I still can't hear you, bud. There you go.
How about now? Okay. All right. The Voodoo Lounge will be featured here shortly, and it will be part of the NSC Roadshow, and it will have some comic mixes in there. We'll also have some things possible about some music. It's all New Orleans flavored and different things going on of that nature of spirituality and some voodoo and some other cool things mixed in. That's basically my heritage. So I will go ahead and be bringing that to the surface. A couple other things. So that is what this episode and this game has been brought to you by for this round of Atomic Camaraderie. And coming up, we're also brought to you by Frank Forte, this is his series right now, the Vampire Verses. It's got 2 or 3 days left of the Kickstarter. So make sure you go ahead and reach out and you can follow that, take a look at it, grab a copy. I've got a copy coming. I back the book. I often, like I said, urge you to go check it out. It's got all kind of cool sketch things going on. Frank's going to tell us a little bit more about that when he comes on here in a few minutes. But again, that's The Art of Frank Forte, and we're going to talk about all things Frank in here in just a few minutes. All right, back over to you.
Sweet, man. What time are we at right now? What do we got for the...
We're getting close to the mark. I know Frank's up, so whenever you guys are ready, you can go ahead and outro out the crew. We'll bring Frank on and keep on rolling.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you guys showing up. Gabs, you and Brad are incredible, and I appreciate you guys being a part of my team and my family. It's very, it's an incredible thing to have such good friends. And we look forward to showing off some more of the Geese Journal. We're really excited about that. Can't wait to show that off a little bit. And we look forward to getting together with you guys this weekend. Hanging out, doing some more stuff. And then Andreas, man, he's a good guy. He's a great person. He's got an amazing TikTok. This is like his blow up TikTok thing going on. So we're going to make sure that we, put him out there because he does some really funny stuff. And he supports us wholeheartedly, and I appreciate that. And Connor, like I said, he's got an amazing book, guys. Swords and Solace is super, super cool. I urge you to check it out. I urge you to back the listeners so you get a copy of Swords and Solace. Really, really interesting stuff, man. If you're into like samurais and stuff like that, and that really cool style that they bring into the book, I can't wait for you guys to see that and give us a little bit of feedback.
Plus some Grimwoods Crossing action too. So that's another great deal that they guys put out. So.
And like I said, I know that Grimworks is our, Jacksonville's best kept secret, but you guys really need to check it out. She's busy as all get out already, but she enjoys her craft. So make sure you guys check out Gabby at Grimworks. And then with that, we'll get you guys out of here and we'll get Frank in here and he can do his awesome stuff, man. I'm excited.
We appreciate all you guys coming out. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
night.
good time.
Take it easy, guys.
Good night.
Eric's back. Hey, Eric.
Okay, let's see. And all right, that was a cool thing to see the game unfold and get some samples in there and some action.
For sure, man. I appreciate you doing them fast fingers and them buttons, man.
Well, I'm trying, man. Like I said, it's like landing planes right now. I got screens all over, screens on both sides, screens in front, screens behind me. But I think I got a couple things we can talk about the next run, about a couple of things to add in there. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And definitely, without further ado, he is getting set up right now. And as soon as I see him get situated, give me the high sign, I'll let him in. Frank Forte probably needs no introduction if you pay any kind of attention to anything to do with Bob's Burgers or with Heavy Metal Magazine or with Insidious. The list goes on and on and on to his credits. Sure. Like I said, he definitely normally does not need any kind of introduction. And with that being said, I'm going to turn over the floor to Mr. Frank Forte.
Hey guys.
How's it going, man?
Hey, man.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Cool. So you guys doing a little role-playing game there? I was watching.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff. We're having we've got oh my gosh, Kevin, what are we? I'm at 4 books right now and a role-playing game that I'm writing. So it's really
it's all evolved. Justin's just a writing machine. I mean, he's into probably issue 29 or 30 out of the series.
Yeah, we're issue
way ahead.
29 of The Listener right now. That's already been edited and ready to go. We're 10 books into the miniseries.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just a lot, man. We got a lot going on. We're proud of a lot of it. It's really cool stuff.
And then we decided to go ahead and feature the game to try to give a little bit of a sample tonight to kind of show them that's the next thing that's coming up. So we just want to add that in there as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I used to play D&D a lot, so I know I know the. I haven't played in a while, but I was talking to Kevin. Yeah, I'd like to make a game into some of my IPs, my comic book IPs, like maybe a card game or a desktop. So I'm getting back into playing them, so I know the mechanics of it and all. Card games are a little different than D&D. It's just a little bit different with the cards but some I'm thinking about. But yeah, it's fun.
Sweet, man. Yeah, like Magic and stuff, man. Magic was a lot of fun. I dig it. Yeah, I didn't stop playing until I was, oh my gosh, almost 30. So I definitely dig the card games. We're Kevin and I have talked about numerous times using Atomic Camaraderie to show off things that we thought were cool. Like games like that, tabletop games, anything like that, man, that you bring to the table. We're more than happy to play and advertise and have fun with.
Cool.
My guys like to have a good time, you know what I mean? All my guys just have fun. So
yeah, totally.
Well, yeah, I will. I turn over to you, Frank, and you tell us all some of the good things. I've already kind of let them know a little bit about the Vampire Verses. If you want to go ahead and finish filling in, I'll let them know there's a couple more days left of the campaign to make sure to reach out and grab a copy of that.
Yeah, so Vampire Verses was a comic book that I started in the 90s. Made it to 4 issues, but I never completed the series. So here's some of the issues. This is Vampire Verses number 1. This is I think this is like 3rd printing, but it's black and white horror. Fit into the Bad Girl book, but definitely had some not safe for work material. But overall, it had a really good story that was inspired by Hirotsuka Doji and a lot of manga and anime I was watching at the time in the 90s. This is issue 3. This is first print. This is issue 2, second print. This is issue 4. This is the limited edition first print. And all of these are available at the Kickstarter. So, as you can see, black and white indie horror book is really what it was. And with COVID now, I haven't been working. I normally do, storyboards for animation, film. I worked on Bob's Burgers, Solar Opposites, Lovecraft Country, 3 Below, which was a Guillermo del Toro thing, Insidious, The Last Key, Truth or Dare. Did a lot of Blumhouse stuff, but it's been a little dead, so I've been getting back into comics. I had all this time, and I figured the first thing I would do is a sketchbook. So that's the first thing that I'm kickstarting is the Blood Rights sketchbook, which is, I've got some original stuff here. So this is kind of drawings of all the characters in Vampire Verses. Like that's Vampire Slayer X. This is, I can't remember the name of this character. I got to go back into my notes. This is one of the Splatterpunks. He's kind of a punkish vampire. This is the lead character right here, Angelica. She was an exotic dancer who got turned into a vampire, and now all the clans are trying to get her. Here's another version of Angelica. So this is all the new stuff that I've been doing, and this is going to be all in the sketchbook. And then some pinup stuff. Like this is like a random vampire doing like a kind of a pinup pose. But these are all the new stuff, and I have actually some of the original covers here that I did back in the day. Like this is an original airbrush painting. This is cover to number 2. I think it was back cover. But, this is how I did it back then. It was airbrush, paint, acrylic paint, Here's the cover to Vampire Verses number 1, second printing. and I still have most of these originals. Some of them I sold back in the day, but this is the cover to Vampire Versus #4, first printing. And this is Vampire Versus 2. This is Malphemia. This is one of the evil vampires. This was the cover to #2. I think this is the back cover. I can't remember exactly, but so I still keep all these originals. It was really fun to like work in this traditional medium back then. I haven't really done this in a while, but I'd love to get back into it. But tradition, it's so much easier to work in Photoshop sometimes. But I kept my goal low. I just wanted to get like $1,000, which wasn't much because I didn't want to almost make it and then lose it. So we're at like 1,800 right now, which is not, which is great actually. It's really cool. I would have loved to have gotten it up to 5,000. I don't really think it's possible, but I want to get this done. I want to deliver the books. It's going to be real easy to just print because most of the artwork's done, ship it out, and then launch another one. So I just want to keep doing it as I build this base because I see so many people that are doing really well on Kickstarter, especially indie comics and stuff that are more, adult or mature readers. They really have a fan base on there. So that's, I think, what I'm trying to do is build my fan base. But again, I'll be with Diamond, so I'll be able to publish the books into comic stores at a later date. And I think I'll do Vampire Versus as a trade. I won't do single issues to comic stores, I don't think. But, the Kickstarter will be for backers, but it'll also help us get into the bookstores and comic stores. So, that's pretty much the some of the art and the pitch kind of for the book. If you haven't seen it, I think you could just look up Vampire Versus Blood Right Sketchbook on Kickstarter. It'll come right up. We have 2 days left. It ends 10 a.m. on Wednesday, Pacific time. And there's a lot of cool stretch goals. And I added some like add-on rewards today, like some old Asylum Press books. Asylum of Horrors, which is, I have this right here actually. Asylum of Horrors 1 and 2. This is a horror book I did back in the 2000s. So you can get these signed 1 and 2. I have limited quantities of these. Warlash and Eek and Zombie Terrors were also books that I did. And you can get those too as kind of like add-ons. I don't have the technical add-on yet. That Kickstarter hasn't allowed me to do that yet. So they're just like regular rewards with free shipping. So if people have already pledged, they could get this book and not pay extra shipping. I'll just throw it in. So it was a lot of work. I mean, doing a Kickstarter is definitely it's just a lot. You're just constantly. And then the last few days, I'm just like tweeting every day, Instagram, Facebook, like where are all those? Can I find some new people? Because I know the fans are out there. It's just really hard to find them, like, do you find them on Twitter? Do you do Facebook ads, Google ads? Some of my ads are not getting approved. I don't know exactly. Maybe it's because it's not safe for work. I don't know. But I think once I get rolling and I do a few Kickstarters, I'll have the backing, the base that other really successful comic people have. And I'll be able to do it. And it'll be more like, hopefully I can make a living at it. Not just, make a few. I mean, $2,000 is good, but a lot of that will get eaten up by people helping me, shipping, buying the boxes, printing. So it's not like if you could do 10,000 or 20,000, then you could actually say you're making a living at it,
For sure.
Right. Yeah. It just takes time to build that base back up. Like you said, you've been there before. There's no reason you can't get there again. And we're going to be behind it and definitely finding new groups and new places and new means to get your name back out there. So
absolutely. Sure. I mean, I love having you around, man. It's great for everybody in the indie industry when people come in and they're like, hey, look, we really want to be part of this because as you said, you've paid attention and the indie world now is getting so big. I mean, Polito coming back, and doing his books and his huge Kickstarters and have been incredible. And they're showing.
Yeah, he's done amazing. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm like, wow, dude, like it's
absolutely.
crazy.
I mean,
And
it's
it
a
was,
real thing, man. It's
back in the 90s, I mean, there was kind of a camaraderie too. Like I was hanging out with the Cry for Dawn guys and Boneyard Press and Anubis Press, and it was always like, hey, want to do an ad trade? Yeah, let's do an ad trade. And you know, let's do a signing together. Let's do a con and get our tables next to each other so we can, like, you know, trade off our fan bases, or hey, check out my book, or go to his table, you know. So there's camaraderie there. This is even before the internet was around, you know.
right. I mean, we see those guys together. You would see, like, to this day, you know, we know plenty of guys in this business that run that circle. You know, they have their own circle, and they're like, hey, just like you mentioned, hey, meet me at this show, or, you know, this show's only 2 states away. You want to split a hotel, you know, you want to hang out, you know, do dinners and stuff, you know.
Yeah, totally.
All the time in Florida, you know, MegaCon and Comic-Con and stuff like that.
Is that where you're from? You're from Florida?
I'm from Florida.
Phil, so you did MegaCon. That's a really big convention, right?
I've done.
I never did that one.
I did it I've done it as a vendor once,
Cool.
and I've probably been 5 times.
Cool.
As a, you know, to go. But I feel like there's definitely that camaraderie. You understand, like if you've got an artist, he brings his inker. You know what I'm saying? His inker comes with him. If you've got, you know, an artist that inks his own stuff, his colorist tends to come with him. Right. You know, so on and so forth. You have teammates that show up together. When we did our first store signing, when we had our brick and mortar, it was like my buddy was like, "Well, I'll come, but can I bring my inker? You know, can I fly together?" And it becomes a way to save money. It becomes a way to broaden horizons for everybody involved. You know.
Well, it's good, like I said too, and we just brought up that Phil's got the Kickstarter going up there for you. But it's just like you said, and that's part of why we all got together to do this. Then that's where that comes from. We're taking the word comic and camaraderie and jamming the two together and come up with comic-raderie. Because we all miss that camaraderie. We all miss, like you said, pushing tables together, splitting rooms, you know, getting together for shows, you know, and meeting up at the next show and planning 2 or 3 shows down the road. All that's been taken right now, so we're all finding different ways to try to do things. But it's just good for everybody to be able to reach back out and do stuff like this, and you know, and talk it through. It's great seeing people come back into the fold and you know, re-bringing up and bringing the older friendships back up again and doing collaborations and totally. It's been a lot of fun.
It feels good to get back into comics. I mean, it takes a little while because it's a lot of work drawing and inking and doing the backgrounds. But once you can get into a groove, you know, I've always loved the medium. It's just that storyboards you're drawing a lot looser and you're just going through it. You're not really doing that ink pass. You know, it's like a rough pass. You're just doing it rough. And with comics, you got to get back in there and do that tight pass. And that's why it is kind of, it's tedious, you know. And now I'm older. It just takes longer, but I am psyched to get back into it or to find a way to do it faster. Maybe I'll hire an inker, a digital inker. I'm not sure yet, but it's fun to like look at all this stuff and you look at some of the drawings. You're like, oh, that's just really bad. Like, I want to redraw that. And then some of the stuff you're like, you know, it's not really that bad. Like, it actually looks pretty good. Some of the stuff I was doing back then.
Well, we brought that up earlier in the show. You know, Eric brought it up. You look at your stuff as an artist and you want to go through and you want to change what you've done in the past. You know, what can I do better? You know, that's the stigma of an artist. You know, you're literally looking at something and going, oh, I could have done that better every time you see it. And it's not even on purpose. You know, you're literally like, man, if I'd have done this line a little bit different, it would look so much better than it did previously. But like right now, we live in this hungry world in art, you know, so finding somebody that can, you know, match your talents is not anywhere near as difficult as it used to be. Because like we mentioned earlier with the listener, when I was looking for an interior artist, I had like 130 applicants for this job.
Right.
You know? And at that point, and I'm not trying to sound crass or, you know, or cocky or anything, but you choose your team. You know what I mean? You have the ability to go in and look and, you know, spend the time to look at each of their portfolios and see what you think, versus how, like you mentioned, how it was before, when it was literally like you only got to see the guys you got to see. You know, they were showing up and you were like, can he ink or can he not ink? The internet has opened such a floodgate.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Here's the link right here going across the bottom if you want to capture it, and I can go ahead if you want to grab it. That is the link the start link to get right to the Kickstarter and check it out. What you're seeing right now.
Yeah, so these are, if you want to scroll down, these are some of the interiors that you'll see. These are the classic covers. These are some interiors of the comic book. Those are comic book interior pages. And, you know, it was a really popular book when it came out. I don't think it really got the circulation as some of the other books did at the time, like, you know, Lady Death, Razor, She, Cry for Dawn. Those guys did way higher numbers than I did. So I was there, but I was kind of really in the background, kind of the indie of the indies, you know.
Right.
But people
always
liked it, you know. But
it's evolving, because what's interesting is you saw where Cypress Hill just threw their hat in the game, right?
No, are they do comic books?
Yeah, they got a book out. They got a whole baller package where you get signed figures and books and records and the comic itself. It's a pretty thick comic.
Are they going to do that on Kickstarter? Are they?
They're actually doing it Kickstarter-like, but it's where you can go in and pledge towards it, but it's not done on that platform. It's kind of, they're taking a different way to do it. It doesn't seem to be on a platform altogether. So
is it their own thing? So they don't want to give up fees. So they created it on their own? Or I know that now there's a bunch of these are the new rewards that I just put up today.
Awesome.
A couple of the new ones.
Yeah, I'll grab you that link after this and send it to you. It was very interesting to check it out. It made some headlines in different places.
It's a very interesting read, checking that stuff out from Cypress Hill. Because, you know, I mean, they were the first like rap metal band. You know what I mean? Right. To have those guys put out a comic book is very, very interesting to see the stories they have to tell and stuff. But, you know, it has these books and these covers have, like you mentioned, Dawn. I'm a huge Lisner fan. You know, and to see the '80s books and the '80s style, we have our own cult following,
right?
In that region, you know what I'm saying? There was actually a book called like Vampires, if I'm not mistaken, that was a very popular series. But they share that '80s metal vibe, you know what I mean? It's a very
they do,
you know, unique vibe that you wouldn't get elsewhere. The thing with Dawn was a lot of books didn't get pushed around because of their content. You know, Dawn was super religious content, you know, so people didn't want to place it in certain things. Now you can find Dawn expensive, you know. I mean, the variants for Dawn to find, because the low print runs are up there.
You're talking about Cry for Dawn, the original series?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
right.
He did that beautiful cover where he's holding the masks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, those are great.
I mean, and that's the amazing feel that your covers give. You know, you've got that, hey man, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to read those, but I really wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't until I got in my late teens and in college and early 20s that I was like, man, Dawn is amazing. Or, you know, I love Polito's work, but it took me forever to get an Evil Ernie #1. You know?
Yeah, right. No, I know. It's like those books, you used to see them at cons all the time, and now they're rare and they're harder to find. You know,
for sure, absolutely. Especially first prints, man, because of the low print run is fantastic when you get your hands on them. The artwork is stunning, though, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you know, inspired by Wrightson and Vigil and Kelly Jones and all those guys. Those are all the guys I was looking at the time, and I just kind of developed a style that was similar, but hopefully a little bit of my own. You know,
absolutely. It's
important
to have your own look.
You know? Yeah, definitely a time-consuming style with all the detail in there, but you know, kind of got that from looking at both Vigil and Wrightson. They both had a way of just going in there with the quill or the brush and trying to get, you know, and then later, like these gray tones, you can see I kind of added gray tones later, and that kind of, I don't know, it allows you to see it better, I think. In the digital versions, I added some tones, and I think I like it better with a little, you know, tonality in there. So some of the digital books will look a little bit different than the original printings. But and if I do a trade, the tones will be in there too. I mean, the tones were in there, but they were zip tones. I was cutting out zip tones for all those books. You know?
Oh my God, it's that Phil dude.
It is that Phil guy.
Phil Leon, Philman X. What's up, Phil?
What's up, everybody, man?
How's it going, man?
I was going good, man. I just bounced out from over at the Madness over to here.
There you go.
Just waiting to pop in and say hey to everybody, man.
Phil's one of the ones that twisted our arm and put us up to this, so you got Phil to thank for that one.
Well, we're super thankful. You know, Phil's a great guy, and you know, to have a, you know, what's that song? Everybody needs a friend like me. Everybody needs a friend like Phil. That's the truth.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, thanks, man.
We're talking to Phil about putting together some stuff on each and every episode and kind of doing his own thing, and you know, see what kind of panels he wants to put together. So he's definitely a part of the whole creation of Atomic Camaraderie. So we definitely want to keep him, you know, in with the crew. He is part of the crew.
Absolutely.
Well, here's a sneak peek for you, man. Look familiar, Frank?
Yeah, nice. I like it. Yeah, I did that live on the show and then gave it to Phil, and he put some color in there. It looks great, man.
It does look super good.
Yeah, I went gritty with it, man. It felt like it needed to be gritty. Give it that older flavor.
Absolutely, man. Well, like you said, the 80s had its own style all its own. You know, it was a very metal time period, late 80s, early 90s. Had that very dark and just almost Judas feel. You know what I mean? It was really good stuff, man.
Oh,
Kind
yeah,
of I almost had a John Kay feel to it. That's why I went with that that splotchy background and stuff like that, man.
I like it.
Absolutely.
It turned out cool.
It sure did.
Yeah, I've got some. I've got a few Frank pieces coming my way as well, so I'm pretty happy about that.
There you go.
I've been a fan for a long time.
There you go. There's some more cool Frank
Well,
stuff.
that could be the next Kickstarter. If anybody out there wants to just follow the Asylum Press, I think you can follow people on Kickstarter, right? Not just campaigns.
Right.
Yeah.
Follow Asylum Press. Every other month this year, we're going to have a Kickstarter either for Warlash or, oh yeah, there's one of my webtoons. Molly's Nightmare is a webtoon that I'm doing. Oh, what do I got? 10 followers, 167 views. Not bad.
The Goon Tune one's pretty cool too. If you want to pull up the Goon Tune.
Yeah, Goon Cartoons is that's Billy Boy.
Billy Boy. I've known this one for a while. I've known this one since the early 90s, man.
Yeah, this was in From Beyond, my first comic book. Billy Boy was in '91, and then I'm putting him here out on Webtoon, so you could read it for free. But if you want, you could also buy the print editions.
Do you have the old early Flash animations of this around, man?
I think they're on Goon Cartoons.
Are they on Goon Cartoons?
They're on there. I think I put them on there. Actually.
I remember that, some of the early when you had to wait for your video to buffer and all that stuff back in the day.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like I said, Frank was one besides John Kay. Frank was the only one I knew that was really delving into the Flash animation and online, throwing up online animations, man.
Yeah, Flash, shit. When was that? That was late 90s?
Yeah, it was a while back, man. There was Billy Boy. You had Cletus and
Cletus and Floyd. We were trying to
Cletus and Floyd.
John Kay was doing Weekend Pussy Hunt, and Icebox was on.
Right, yeah.
We were figuring out Flash animation right when it was called Future Splash, then it became Flash, and we were doing it and putting it on there and trying to optimize Flash so it would run on a slow internet. It was crazy back then. The internet was so slow.
Oh yeah, but it was definitely the wave of the future, man. Yeah, I was fighting with a partner on some stuff back in band days, doing Flash animation for our site. And I was like, man, no, it's just around the corner, man. Let's make this cool. There's so much stuff you can do with Flash, and it's interactive and all this cool stuff.
Oh yeah, it was when I first got into computers. It was, I mean, for one thing, it's been good God. I started computers when I was about 10, and it was the old trash 80s, right? It's TRS.
Oh, the trash 80s, the color.
Trash 80s, man.
Yeah.
And it was all green screen. It was all like Tron, right? You were always building all these models. And I remember I built a F-14 in there. I was at 10 or 11, built one, gridded it out and everything, programmed all the points. And then later on, when I got into going to college and going through it and everything, it's still at that point. You had the green screen. It was like an Apple II CI, I believe. And you had the Pantone book, right? You put in all your colors from the Pantone book and then went to the printer to see if you got it right. And if you're one number off, you had this, god-awful color, right? So you had to go back in and redo all your colors based on your book. The whole what you see is what you get. We're all used to that now, right? That's what.
Then it was great when the TRS-80 came out with the color computer, man.
Oh yeah,
that was when it was getting cool.
Yep, my cousin had a Texas Instruments, then he had a Commodore 64.
I had a 64. Yep.
Yeah, it was incredible. The
sprites, getting sprite detection going on, playing with the SID chip in it, the synthesizer sound chip. Hell yeah!
I had the old thermal printer. That was kind of like the receipt that puts out at Walmart, puts out the heat and, the good old days of the floppy disk.
Now, isn't that crazy? Flash had been around all that time, and like December, I think, is when they it finally ended, man.
It was all a lot of stuff on the net that a lot of people don't realize was all demilitarized information, right? So the military had all these cool, fun things like the internet way before we all did.
Yeah.
And it's just now some of the stuff that they're still starting to come out with is unbelievable. Just some of the virtual reality things that we're actually getting into and that will be released a little bit later with some other things we're doing to emerge people into different worlds. It's incredible what can be done now versus what we all started with.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm waiting to see if we're going to delve into more like the interactive comics in the digital world now.
Man, I really would love to avoid digital comics for as long as I could, just because of the simple fact that I feel like is as a person, having paper in your hand, right? As a shop owner, having a brick and mortar, the smell of old books, right? The being able to open them in your hand and be like, how old is this? We've talked about it, Kevin. How old is it? Does it feel good?
Well, Well, the thing I'm talking about is the technology with the progression. Is that you're going to be able to expand on the art form if you start to delve in that area. Like I said, interactivity within a book,
What I think's what my if I had to do the old the Johnny Carson and I had to put the old Karnak, do the envelope to my head and think it, to me it's going to be some sort of hybrid. Like you're going to be able to kind of like the when you
like
go
the
buy
augmented reality stuff with the books.
Well, like you get a DVD now, and right, you get the Blu-ray, the DVD, or if you buy the 4K, right, you get the DVD and the digital version, and you get multiple versions of the medium, right, or different mediums, I should say, for one release. My best guess would be comics will eventually twist that way. They're already starting to play with it, right? You already get the book and the digital, but I think it's going to be even more. I think there's going to be
like let's even say blended in with movie, like they do with shows where it can be blend, where it'd be a book, but it's blended into also a video game that goes
in. You guys remember Zork? Remember the books?
Yeah,
the Zork
book? Oh yeah.
The kind of like it's decision making on the reader's part, right? You get to a certain point, much like the D&D stuff was. Like we just and you have choices, and these choices take you on a different path. In the Zork books, you could read the same book 10 different times and get 10 different paths.
And you also got the augmented reality where I've seen, and it's kind of trailed off, but I've seen a start of it a little while back, where it's like you can you have your regular print book, that goodness that you like, but then you also with the smartphone, you can look like through your phone at your book, and there'll be something like a 3D model of that character sitting right on the page, man.
How cool is that, man? That's sweet.
And like Dustin's saying, I'm still a big avid have the book in my hand reader. I still pick up PDFs and read, but man, I was spoiled in the fact that for the past 2 years, my local comic shop was Mile High Comics. So I would walk in there and just that smell would hit you, right? And to be able to dig through 275,000 books on the open floor. I mean, they call it the ocean. That's the nickname for it. And then if you can't find what you need there.
That's how big Mile High is, huh?
There's 10 million books right there. So if you can't find it in that open ocean, 275,000 books, because trust me, I've counted the long boxes. I know. So I can say that number. But then you go to the counter, and then there's another 10 million books on inventory. Guest appearance.
Yeah, Bad
This is
kitty.
my
That's
kitty.
my pie.
There is a cat that roams around mile high,
Uh-huh.
and you'll see him hop up and kind of. There's the heat coming down from the different areas in the building. And he'll
Right.
just find the heat,
And just
and
hangs out.
yeah, it just hangs out. Everybody,
Right.
pets it and gives it food. It checks everybody out, and I'll think of the name in a second. But
Right.
it's
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if
Cambridge is the name.
I don't know if like digital interactive comics will ever really take off. I mean, the technology's been there for a long time, and people have tried it. They've tried motion comics. I remember there was like people were talking about CD-ROMs when CD-ROMs were around, and
Right.
it just could never really take off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they made it interactive, made it where it's in combination with, you get the book, but then you can digitally add to that somehow.
Yeah, maybe.
Whether it's
I don't know
augmented reality or
I don't know if people really like they're like everyone is now that makes movies and stuff. They're trying to figure out how to do virtual reality. Oh, how do we tell stories in VR? Well, it's hard to, because when you're in VR, you're interactive as the story's going on. Like VR and AR is really more for gaming if you want to be there, but if you just want to watch a story, that's why a movie is good. The director tells you where to look, where to go, how to cut. When you're in that story, everyone that has tried to do it it's been difficult, because how do you make a movie where you're sitting there in the movie? It's been hard for like studios.
Well, you could do like cool things with VR, maybe where you have your book and you're reading it, but there's one like really nice splash page.
Right.
And then you can use like a QR code at that point. And you could put your VR gear and you could actually like look around that room at all the stuff in there. Now that'd be kind of cool.
Well,
that might work.
Got it right now. If you get the PlayStation VR, it came out about 5 years back, like the decent PlayStation VR. So you pick up PlayStation VR, and now Sony has not just games that you can purchase, but you can purchase short films that you can watch with the VR headset on, right?
Right.
So you talk about the director's point of view, and it's so important as a writer, as a director, as anybody that's, writing a storyboard or anything. You need to know where the people are looking for lighting, all kinds of other, important factors in what you're watching. Well, with the PS4 VR when it came out, we bought this game where we thought it was a game because I bought it for my daughter, and it was a movie about this rabbit, right? This rabbit, you could walk around and you could follow the rabbit or not follow the rabbit. But when you follow the rabbit, it ends up stopping these Martians that come down and sends them back up into space and messes up all their plans. And it's literally like watching a film, but you can turn around and you can view every angle.
Right.
30-minute cartoon film that they've created. And I remember being in such awe of what they created, because there's a lot of times in movies where, like, I personally will be like, man, that was a really cool scene. Why did we pass it so fast? You know what I mean? That's really cool to watch. Or a beautiful viewpoint that we've got that the team has created, and we go past it. And I understand that's a lot due to constraints, money, and stuff like that. But we passed it. So if you're doing the VR, you can actually turn and watch what you want to watch while the rest of it continues. The hard thing about, like, what you mentioned with VR is it's being filmed, okay? It's literally being filmed. So now you've got this, your director is having to film around the entire 360-degree view.
Yeah, you have to create that whole environment, yeah.
Right, so you're literally
It's expensive.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm saying it'd be cool just to throw in, like I said, like a splash page where you could like look around the room, open up drawers on a desk or something like that, discover little things.
It would be so.
Where you're not getting rid of the old medium, you're just adding an extra layer that's possible, maybe.
For sure, absolutely. I mean, there's so many ways that you can create a realm almost. If you have a room, let's say we use Frank's room. If you're in Frank's office and you're looking around, there's all kinds of cool stuff to see. Now, when you create layers, you're going to have to literally go in. If in VR, if you can pick up a drawer, or you can pick up a piece of art and you can look at it, that's amazing. But the amount of time it would take for them to make it so you could literally pick up each piece of artwork in Frank's office would be astronomical.
Right. Or you could even maybe go simpler, like maybe there's a TV in a scene and you could click on the TV. You could do where you could there's an image on there and you could have because Frank can do animation, it'd be like, you could have you could actually see what's on the TV. It'd be a little short, a little story within a story even.
I'm going to give you a little bit about what's out there, and it's the technologies that I've been immersed in. I do a lot of military work. I do a lot of work with nuke plants, all kind of higher end technology kind of jobs. So I'm exposed to a lot of cool things. And what I'm fixing to tell you is not anything that's top secret or anything like that. At one of the projects I was at, we were building pieces modularly to go to a nuke plant, and they wanted to get a representation, a way to do measurements. So they brought a company in. We had them do a demo for us, and they basically took just a rover, right, or whatever you want to, that's kind of what I guess they had called it, and it's got the blades on everything, and they let it go off and fly around and did a flyover through the whole assembly. But what they put together was unreal. It was basically like a digitally animated movie of the facility, right? When they put their drone out there, and the drone flew all through the facility, and the data points they had, they could literally, when they did the flyover, it was 360 mapping the whole time it was going, and it flew through, and you could see all the different people working in the modules and everything else, and it had this layer. It was like a skin, but when you turned it on its side, it was like Mario Brothers, right? It was the paper mache version. It was singularly dimensional, right? It wasn't a full 3D, but when it flew over, it mapped it in 3D. You could zoom down on a piece, and you could see how far, say the trailer hitch on a trailer that was moving this particular piece of equipment. You could take measurements, literal, actual measurements, from the tip of that trailer to where the piece started, and you could pull all kind of measurements of the module, like from piece to piece within the module, to make sure that it was all squared and parallel. It was incredible technology.
I mean, is there tech out there yet where you can, like the Matrix, go in and mingle with people who are in VR and be other avatars, or are those rooms not really? Is that happening yet or not?
Absolutely. Really? We do, right now you could usually go into let's do Mortal Kombat, all right? Mortal Kombat's huge right now, right?
Yep.
So there are certain formats and versions of Mortal Kombat, as well as Street Fighter, as well as Dragon Ball Fighters, a bunch of games that have come out recently, that you create your avatar and you can walk around and request matches. Like if you're walking around and I happen to be your buddy and we see each other, I can walk up to you, throw you a peace sign, and ask you if you want to throw down for a match, and throw down for a match. I mean, it's almost like
so you're in VR walking around in the Street Fighter
it's
world.
Almost a dojo. Say you're in a dojo, right? You're in this massive dojo, and there are 20 other players. Now it's done by servers, so you've got so many people on each server. So let's say that Eric and I want to do a match together, and Eric's on the other side of the dojo. I can walk and over to the other side of the dojo and ask him for a match. I mean, we've come so far with VR right now that it's insane. I mean, and the sad thing is, most of the time it's done for really bad games anymore, because the memory it takes to run VR is astronomical.
Oh, it is, huh?
Right. And there's also technology out there.
Well, you got cloud serving. I'm thinking is going to help in that area.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a couple things at play. One of them was there is technology out there that maps the unmappable. Like they're going in and redoing things with the Titanic. They're going in there and say there is a massive wreck and a lawsuit. This train came in and wiped out a school bus and all that. You can't recreate that in a courtroom. So there is technology out there where they build everything in VR, and they can calculate the speed of the bus, the speed of the train, impact, G-force, all that stuff is out there. And then to go even a step further, with the mapping of the sonar on the floor, there's new technology they just released out there for, piecing together the Titanic pieces and to see what piece actually matches a piece of the boat.
Right.
Just based on the effects that they have now. It's all kind of interesting things that you could use, and you could turn that, like you said, back into the comic world. And there is, of course, with the 4D printing now, right? You can go in and do some things. There's a comic book that we're working with now for Inked Marketing, that it's a gentleman out of Ecuador, and his whole process is he can, all his characters, and it's featured. It's a comic manga book. It's called Wink, but it's all 3D renderings, and it's incredible the different skins and things you can do,
Right,
in the lighting,
right.
of course, and it's all applied towards a comic book.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, there's other people that are doing comic books where they create the stuff in 3D and then maybe give it a 2D line, an ink line, and some people that draw comics are like, that's not drawing. But I think if you can tell a story and you're good with composition and everything, and you just use 3D to make it, I've seen some really cool 3D stuff.
But are we taking away from the medium though, starting to go into a different realm and getting more cinematic when we do
Well,
that?
I think you still have to have the hand skills, because I always caught flack coming up when I was in college, going to college for art, because I was the graphic designer. Now I took everything else and did everything else: paint, draw, sculpt, all that. Okay, I have all that under my belt, photography, but there was always the art for art's sake, guys and gals that would always kind of throw back on the people that doing design. Oh, the computer's doing it for you. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
You still, Phil can attest it. You still have to have the hand skills,
yeah, sure,
and the composition skills, and all of those tools in your toolbox, as if you were still painting, sculpting, drawing, printmaking, photography. You still have to have that.
As an engineer, as a graphics engineer, it took me years to get to the point where I was able to go, I can build full scale buildings, and I can get the government to hire me for a job to build full scale buildings and security systems and intricate designs for you to be able to fit things in rooms and everything else. But there's a line that I feel like when you do a comic book, and we're talking, we could go way back with comics and talk digital. I mean, there used to be really rough comic books, including like porn that used to get put out on the back of comic books that was in a CG format, and it was like, hey, look, we're building that experience, that real life experience for you. And it still takes the time, it still takes the hand, it still takes the skill, because if you build a wonky hand on a rig, and then you build or you draw a wonky hand over here, like with your hand, versus building it in a rig, it's still a wonky hand. I don't care where you got it.
Right. Look up the show The Games That Made Us, I believe it's called.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that was great. I saw that.
See this how first person shooter and how these different things in Doom. We all remember Doom. When Doom came out, man, we were all playing it instead of doing our homework. We were all playing Doom, right?
Yeah.
Doom and Wolfenstein.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Wolfenstein was the best.
Get out of here, man.
Yep. And those were server crashing games, man, back in the day.
Well, yeah, because they were working in multiple planes, and that was what was so neat about that with like Doom, is you were able to do multi levels. You weren't on a flat plane. You were actually able to go up on another level and shit like that.
Well, speaking of multiple planes, Frank, why don't you take us through some of the multiple things that you're doing? Some of the, like you said, the stretch, because you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you want to pull up the Goon cartoons again, I could show you some of that stuff. Like that's some of the animation that I do, like original animation on YouTube. So it's like each playlist is a different, I guess, property. So we have like the Devil, we have Buck Billy, we have, we do some Cuphead parodies.
It's already up.
Awesome.
So like if you go to let's play Cut It Out, that's a pretty fun one. So this is a new one that I did, and this is kind of like inspired by the Monty Python style of animation.
Yeah, when I bring it up, I have to move my microphone because everything revolves around Google, and if I'm using Firefox and they don't want to use the audio, so I cheat.
For sure.
Goon cartoons. Cut it out.
Don't you hate it when someone answers their own question? I do.
I hate Tommy. You know why? Because he has the mechanical walkie-talkie robot. I want the mechanical walkie-talkie robot. Why should Tommy have one and I don't? I hate him. Tommy's popular. Everybody likes Tommy. I hate Tommy.
When I'm in the mood for a good snack, and when I say good snack, I mean really good snack, like rice cakes or crunchy peanut butter, all natural. I like to sit at my window and stare at the workers as I eat my snack. I love snacks. Snacks are comforting. Snacks are crunchy. Snacks sometimes feel like there's a whole world around me that I don't even need to see. It sounds like they're clapping. It sounds like they're stomping their feet, all in support of me.
My father has schizophrenia, but he's good people.
I heard that Tommy's mommy is an alcoholic. She always has whiskey breath and flirts with the mailman. This is why Tommy has a developmental disorder and is socially dysfunctional.
I love good snacking. Snacking is the most wonderful thing. I could snack all day if I choose to. Sometimes I prefer to forego meals just for snacking. Sometimes I have up to 16 snacks a day. Not always rice cakes. That's more modern, of course. But I like cheeses. I like grapes, fruits, wines, sometimes milk when the cows are feeling happy, if you know what I mean. It's not too hot out. Doesn't spoil outside. What else do I like? I love decorating. As you can see, I'm a wonderful decorator. This place was a shack before I got to it. And now look at it. All this wonderful stuff.
I was addicted to the hokey pokey, but then I turned myself around.
I heard that Tommy has
So if you want to stop it or pause it or play another one, you get the idea. Like that's cut it out, just like kind of weird little shorts.
It's mad funny. I'll give you that.
Kind of odd and kind of weird in a weird way, but it's just another thing that I'm into is like creating original content, and I like, I just like the YouTube and I like the animation medium, but in order for me to do it on any kind of level, it has to be simple, it has to be short. I can't really do stuff that's like full animation like classic Warner Brothers. It would just take too long. So I'm trying to find ways to do it where it's simple and easy and short,
Absolutely.
Right.
Kevin's muted.
Well, I'm muted. What does something like that take to do hours-wise? That
cut it out. I would say that whole thing maybe 8 hours.
Okay.
I would say like a full day.
And it's a 6 minute clip.
Yeah. So you
Is
just
it
do
6 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that. Like I kind of animate one at a time. Like I animate like all of the Billy, all of the girl in the lingerie, all of and then I cut them up and put them together. So maybe it took longer with all the hard part is like building out the characters, cutting them out, building the eye blinks and the mouths. Once I do that, then like all the rest are easier because you're just kind of using the same animation and auto lip syncing, and so the first part is hard.
Framing everything out.
Yeah, cause once you get it going, it takes less time. Like the devil. Like if you want to play, I don't know what you guys might like. Either the devil or Buck Billy. You guys might like. The devil is, the devil kind of talking his way, being blamed for everything, but he's kind of like talking his way out of it. You know, like the world problems are just chaos in the 80s and everything. He just denies everything. Yeah, so yeah, that's the first one. Play that one.
All right, yeah, I'm back. Is this fucking thing on? Okay, good. Yo, people. How you doing? Coming to you straight from the little inferno we call the ninth plane of hell. What's up, bitches? Now look, I know I keep coming back to this. People have always been blaming me for crap I didn't do, like in the 5th grade when I shoved a pencil in Steve Peterson's ear. Okay, I did do it. And maybe I was just studying here, and they told me never to come back to school, but it was so worth it because I'm looking at me with those stupid eyes. Anyway, I get it. I am Louis Cypher. Did you get that? A little Hollywood reference? Come on. Uncle Bobby De Niro played George Clooney in Angel Heart next to Mickey Rourke. Never seen that? Damn, you guys gotta get out more. Don't get out more. Stay at home and watch more movies. Mr. Robert De Niro probably delivered the best depiction of me on the silver screen ever. I mean, I even picked up a few things from him that I added to my repertoire. Anyway, that flick came out in like 87 or some shit like that, which brings me back to my next little diatribe, the 1980s. Now, people are blaming me for the 80s. Come on, you guys. What are you, nuts? I mean, sure, I was there in the 80s. Miami, cocaine, crack, the Iran-Contra scandal, Ronald Reagan, sure. He was all in with the religious right, but me, I was like this, okay, crossing my fingers. You think I'm neon-colored ski wear? I didn't create that shit. Shoulder pads, exercise videos, what was that guy, Richard Simmons? I would shove a broomstick right up his ass if I could. Okay, maybe I had something to do with the big hair, let's be honest. If it makes women more appealing to men and helps them cheat a little more, then hey, I'm in there somehow. But to blame me for the whole decade? You have to be high just to think that. And I mean, if you grew up in the 80s, you probably were high. Hey, even I was high. I was smoking pot every single day when they let me back in school. That was high school. I went to high school down in a place called Go Fuck Yourself. But I didn't create this ridiculousness. There was 10 years of excess, greed, and drug taking. What did I say? Greed? Okay, so maybe I had something to do with the degree part. And that was a big part of the 80s. Damn. Okay, maybe I was responsible. Okay, damn. Shoot. I just fucked myself, devil.
So, you know, there's another one, and there's a whole bunch of them. So, you know, we're trying to get the stuff out there, promote it, get on YouTube, and, you know, make a little money from the advertising, which really isn't much. Unless you're doing, you know, millions of views, it's really hard. So we're just slowly trying to build the following up there, you know.
For sure.
Not, it's definitely not easy. Like those guys that do a lot of, you know, that have millions of followers. I mean, those guys could make 30, 40 grand a month, which is crazy. I think Simon's Cat, do you know that one? They do pretty well with the advertising, but they have millions of followers, you know. It's difficult to, you know, get to the point where you have millions of followers and you put up a video and you get like 30 or 40,000 views right off the bat, you know. Not easy, but you know, we're doing.
No, like I said, it just takes finding the audience that is into those sorts of things, and then just building from there. And that's at anything, right? If you're manufacturing comics or tennis shoes or watches or skis or whatever, it's just finding that market and then just diving into it and then, you know,
right,
growing from there.
Sure. Sure. So yeah, so that's the Goon cartoons, and then, you know, the other stuff is really like, everyone always likes, you know, the day job stuff. So that's like, you know, storyboarding for Bob's Burgers, of course, was really cool. Working on Lovecraft Country was really cool, and mainly I just work with the directors. They give me the scripts, and I just kind of visualize the script in a storyboard form. You know, so like I'll show you. Let me go to my website. I could show you guys some stuff. You want me to share my screen?
Sure, Bob.
Yeah, man.
Let's see.
So when you're doing a storyboard, how many times do you end up having to do reiterations?
Just depends on how many. Can you guys see that? Are we sharing or not?
Now there's Phil's screen. Let me see. All you do is.
I said share screen.
Mhm.
Share screen. Screen 2. Share.
Yep.
You got
There
it?
you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Right. So this is my website. So like we'll go to animation, like Bob's Burgers. So like this is kind of like what a storyboard kind of looks like, and this is a really tight storyboard. But you know, I don't have the dialogue or what they were saying here, but you know, it's like a scene in the kitchen. I think Tina came in. Linda was yelling at Tina for something. But you know, you just kind of rough pose it out. And then this is what goes to the animators. And then they put it together with the color background.
So they basically use that as the keyframes.
Yeah, they use it as keyframes, yeah. I don't know why this Emoji Movie thing is coming up here, but this is that was from Emoji Movie. Let me go over here to Emoji Movie. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this was, so this is for feature animation. Kind of works a little bit differently, but I think this scene was in the movie. I don't know. A lot of the stuff that I did got cut, but
So you end up having to do a lot more frames on these than I take it.
yeah, maybe this is a little more more animated than
Like an animatic almost.
yeah, this might be feel a little more animated. Some of it could be loose. These are a little bit more tight. This is when they brought little Gene to the doctor's office. I don't think this scene was in there. This got cut. But they were trying to say he was crazy. Oh yeah, that was that. So that was that scene.
Like I love storyboarding. I think it's so much fun.
This is Gene in the playground. Yeah, it's fun to look at some people like to look at this rough stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just walking through the playground. I guess that was all I have. There's a whole nother scene to this, but I guess that's all I put up. You know, and then live action is a whole nother thing. Like this is from Lovecraft Country. You know, this is just, it's more realistic. And you don't have to do as many frames. It's really more for the director and the DP to go in there and have a conversation when they get on set. And everybody knows what shots they're doing. So it's really more like keyframing layouts.
For sure.
You're just kind of showing them what the basic action is. A lot of arrows, a lot of direction.
How the cameras are going to work.
Yeah, because you don't need to animate this like you do in the animation world. They're going to act this out. A lot of this stuff will change when they get there. They decide to make a different angle, but this is just kind of a basic blueprint of what you can do. You know?
Yeah, I went to college at Universal at the day school, and one of the, you know, the key things was, you know, storyboarding. You know, before we even got into any actual classes.
Right.
That was the first class that we had to take. It was like 6 months of storyboarding.
Yeah, and that's good that they teach you that, because you're like, now with digital, I guess you can shoot as much as you want. It doesn't really cost you anything.
Right.
But like back then, and this is storyboards from Insidious: The Last Key. Back then, it was on film, so you really had to be, you know, practical with what you shot.
For sure, I can imagine.
So it's good to teach that.
You already had to have the map before you started filming because you didn't want to waste any film.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how wild it was, you know, instead of just being able to go back and redo it. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I know, and it would cost so much. And, you know, a lot of people, when they went to film school, back then they would teach you to like get it down, make sure it would cut together, look at everything, and then just shoot it. And like if it worked in the storyboard, it would work in the cutting room.
Right.
Escape room. This was from. Oh, this is an animatic.
That's cool, man.
You see, it's really like the drawings are rough. Some of the stuff are, I didn't feel like I didn't have time to draw everything, so I just kind of used some props.
Now, is the process here? You're back and forth with the directors, and is it you do sections at a time, or you kind of send them a scene at a time, or how does that part?
Yeah, it can work either way, depending on what time you have. Sometimes I'll just go through it and do it really rough, and then he'll approve it, make changes, and then we'll tighten it up.
Gotcha.
This was basically from the script, the first scene of the script. If you watch Escape Room, this is the first scene of the movie. It's a little shorter, but this is what I think this is what we used to pitch it. What the director used to pitch the movie or something.
Gotcha.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, that is. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about that extra level, that sometimes it could key in with books, or you could pass your phone over and certain things could pop up. I know that there is, when the kids came up for Christmas, they showed some things that you can do these digital printings now, and you embed everything in there, and when you pass over the photo, other things pop up out of it, which is pretty cool.
Right, the augmented reality stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an animatic for live action. So sometimes you do that if you want to pitch something, or if you want to get the timing for a scene. But most of the time, it's really what you see before, like with just the boards on a piece of paper where they just take it to set. But sometimes you'll do something like this.
What would you say? What would you say out of all the different mediums you've been able to touch across the years? What would you say is probably your top two favorite mediums to deal with? Is it still doing the hand stuff? Is it doing stuff in digital? Is it kind of a mix? What is your favorites?
I mean, I really that's why I like getting back into comics, because with comics you're your own boss. You don't have to listen to anybody's notes. You're sitting there, you're writing, you're drawing, you're telling the story. It takes a lot longer, but at the end you have like a tangible thing that you can say is yours. Like I do all these storyboards for, like, this was for the Fantasy Island. That's what it was, right? But you never see these boards. Like, you see the movie and it's like this, but you'll never see this. These drawings are never really seen unless I'm showing you. Where in comic books, it's like someone could hold it and read it, and tons of people could read it and see your drawings. That's why I like comics, whether it's done digitally or traditionally. I like traditional. Digital's a little faster, a little easier, than drawing it. It takes a longer, but I do like the idea of a comic book page. It's really great.
Well, I think I hear that same kind of that cadence come out in a lot of creators, because when I've talked in detail with Monty Moore about his process, and he kind of goes back to similar things what you're talking about. The artist gets to choose the paper, the ink, the pagination. That there's so much more of yourself imprinted into your creation than than following a certain pattern or script or something that was kind of wedged out, a formula that was wedged out before.
And there's certain limitations you have
Correct.
in film that you don't have in comics. There's certain things you can do in comics that you can take advantage of that you're not going to be able to use in other mediums.
Well, yeah. Some
sure.
some of the interviews and talks with Justin Gray was talking about how everything he's doing now is everything he couldn't do before when he was in mainstream.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
you know, there's all these different things that are coming out in indie. This year's been the year of indie, if you ask me. I mean, there's been so many things popping up with everybody having to find different means to do things.
For sure. Well, if you look at like we've been saying it for years, you know, manga is the films that weren't made. You know what I'm saying? It's like manga has such a deep-rooted story and events and content that you couldn't produce because of what it would cost to produce it. You know, each episode, live action manga, each episode would be ridiculously expensive to make.
Yeah, special effects that you
absolutely.
Like that, yeah.
You know, so you choose a medium that you can put your story across from and get what you want people to see. You know, what was that one film years ago they did? Spielberg put it out. It was like a Jurassic Park television show. It's like $1 million an episode, and they only did like 6 episodes.
Right.
Oh,
Well, it's like they go back and reshoot things, right? They go back and because sometimes the technology is not caught up with the vision, right?
Absolutely.
You hear that time and time again.
Which I think is the only time you should do a remake these days, man.
Yeah, that could be a whole other episode we could go into.
Right.
But yeah, there's certain things and aspects, and there's even certain things in design and being there and you know, working with creators and doing stuff for their projects that sometimes technologies break free during the campaign. Like there's some stuff that we're doing for Dustin's book right now with this stop animation that's being out there, and I don't know if you got a chance to see it or not, Frank, but this is taking still frame images. Yeah, until still frame images and overlaying music and video, a little bit of video editing, and it creates a whole new, you know, you have a tangible commercial at that point.
Yeah.
Right, so where's he putting it out? He's using it as a trailer, as a promotion,
Correct.
or is
we're
it?
using it. We're using it right now as commercials all over the net, and it's the.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was saying. That's three covers with some overlay.
You should do that stuff for trailers and make it look like Marvel, DC. Everybody kind of does different types of. I guess they're motion comics in a way, but yeah, they're great. You know,
That's what I was saying. That's what I want us to do for Warlash.
Sure,
So,
right.
You know.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and we've talked about it. We're going to grab a handful of images that you really
Sure.
like, and then you know this can be produced. So
yeah, totally.
Now, what do you guys think about motion comics, man? I've kind of seen where they had a thing and then they kind of faded out, and I don't know, maybe they're coming back again. And do you think there's benefits to that, or?
I mean, I think they're good for trailers, but personally, I don't think people that read comics want to watch motion comics because it's like this weird thing between animation and whether it has the word balloons or it has dialogue and the mouth isn't moving. It just, I don't know. It just never catches on with people.
Because you might as well go with animation at that point, I would imagine.
Well, it feels like there's a bridge there, right? To me personally, I look nothing more than grabbing a good book, you know, good comic or a good book, and I've got this big comfy chairs, right? It's like a catcher's mitt. It's a leather recliner I bought. It's secondhand, but it is the perfect fit for me. I'm a tall guy, and it just fits me perfect. And just to sit back and read, and everything else fades away. There's a connection there that you're building the story, even though you're watching it through a comic or reading it. You're still building parts of that story in your mind. So I think that's the connection that people still like to have with that physical book or that physical piece.
Now, do you think there's
also
a difference between generations when it comes to that?
I think so.
Yes,
I think
true.
there's definitely.
You can find some of that on webtoons.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few mixed media, like a little bit of motion and a little bit of music. A few of those comic books are right now on Webtoons, and I think it's like what Kevin said, this generational, because those sites are targeted towards people under 20, and things like the listener or the things that you guys were talking about. I think it's that bridge in the generation where motion comics on your cell phone has been consumed by younger people, maybe.
I think
So it's
you're
hard
right.
to
I think
hard to
I've
reach
seen
that.
it on Webtoon. The Room of Swords has it, and for me, it does kind of actually work on Webtoon. Like I'm on Webtoon and Tapas, but they don't allow you to upload GIFs, which I could do and it would work. It's like their inside proprietary software, whatever you're using. If you are paid by Webtoon, they let you use their tools, and then you can upload animated stuff.
I'll give you an instance,
but for a different audience,
right?
For like a more mature audience, that would be great. Because when I put my comic on Webtoons a few years ago, it didn't do really well.
No.
No.
Were you posting every day, or at once a week?
For a while,
once a week?
was.
How many episodes did you put up?
I put up 40. I think it was
40.
No, sorry, 40 panels, and I put out 5 episodes, I think.
Oh, 5. So that's I think like in order to build an audience, you got to do like. You got to be up to like 30 or 40, but it also helps if if Webtoon is promoting you. If you're just on Canvas yourself, it certainly is difficult.
Yeah,
and I don't know the answer. You got to advertise, or you just got to have a big social following. There are people on Canvas that have hundreds of thousands of followers. I don't know how they do it. They must have a following.
There's a couple things. It takes a mix for one thing. It's a social media mix, and then it takes repetition. And it just takes time in the beginning, but once you have that, that's why the different scale of books that we do books with creators that are brand new to the market versus medium level that have been in it for a while, all the way up to the people that have been in it for years, and they all enter in at different stages of the game. But it's still even the larger ones are still finding new ground out there. There's still so much unclaimed territory, unexplored territory out there, and that's what we're here for. That's what we jump in there and get things.
So did you stop doing it then, Eric, or were you? Let me ask you this: first of all, did you stop, and then were you on Tapas and Graphite and the other platforms too?
I was trying to get onto the how do you call it? So one is Canvas, and the other one is. On Webtoons, you have the people being paid for Webtoons.
Right.
There was a while where they were checking Tapas. You were joining the contest, and you had to hit certain targets. And that was, I think it was more than 35 panels each episode. And there's a few.
Yeah, that's a lot. I try to keep mine around 20. I don't hit 35.
Yeah, I know. And I did it for 4 episodes, but I didn't get picked up. And I was posting everywhere, like Facebook.
Right. Yeah, you're trying hard to get people there. What did you get? What were you getting for views and like followers after the 4 episodes?
I think it was 1K views, and because I had
1,000? That's pretty
1K
good.
views. Yeah, I think it was something like that. I had 1K views, 44 followers. I had more when I was posting it on 20 panels, and I had way more episodes, but I had to shut it down and just to rebrand it in the way that they were asking it, to see if I could jump into being paid. So that ended up pushing for 4 episodes on 35 panels, and I didn't make it. So I paused that and I kept working on other things.
How much did you like? What was the time limit that they gave you for this contest to reach?
Not much, but I was working on that specific graphic novel for a long time, so I had a bit of material.
You had it done, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still posting on Webtoon, Tapas, and Graphite. Whenever I get one done, I put it on all 3 in the hopes to just build this following. But
I posted it on the chat if you want to check it out.
Yeah, put it up.
Yeah, it's on the chat, on the private chat.
Oh, go ahead, you guys. You want to? Who's in charge?
It's a little bit of us running the asylum here. Who wants to grab it? Let's see. It's right there. I'll grab it. You want me to put it?
Yeah, go for it.
Where do you
So
want it
Frank, Eric is my interior artist for my book.
Oh, cool. Cool.
I'm gonna throw it over to Phil and let Phil put it up. Because Phil's got the other side of the board.
I've got what?
Yeah, you have the con, Phil. There you go.
Go, Phil.
Go,
It's all
Phil.
you, Phil.
Go, Phil.
Phil's working the board. I'm juggling other things. We're all kind of running the asylum right now.
Of course. Let's
Anyone
see.
can take over.
Oh yeah, that's the name of the game. That's the camaraderie part of it.
That's right. So there's Eric's stuff is killer, man. Like I'll vouch for Eric all day because it's a very it's like so like I said, I grew up doing traditional storyboarding, you know. So when it was time to do a comic book, I literally wrote it like I would have wrote a short film,
Right.
you know. And Eric came in, and Eric was just like, "Well, this is awesome. Can we sit and do this? What if we move this and this angle?" And it turned into a whole different type of experience because I went from writing, you know, a storyboard and then
Oh, I see.
novel to, you know, to
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, you're doing like rendered, fully rendered stuff. It's great. Yeah, this takes a while then, huh?
Yeah, it took a while. But also the listener took a while too.
the
It's
listeners
just,
probably did.
Is that how he does your comic, Dustin, in the black and white rendered?
No, you can check it out.
Here,
What do we have? Yeah,
Because I'm looking at Calm the Beginning, right?
yeah, that's all stuff from me.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to check some new stuff, it's also on the chat. The Instagram is where I post all my daily work
Okay.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so you got 1,000 views, you had 44 followers, you got a 9 point. Yeah, I know, it's definitely, it's tough if you don't keep going with it.
Yes,
Hey, Kevin, the only thing you need to know is if I'm rolling the controls, man, you got to share the screen for me, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to help you with that, Phil. I'm sorry. I've been trying.
There you go.
I'm jumping in and out because my phone's starting to blow up. So I'm trying to get 4 of the projects going at the same time. So I kind of bowed out for a second.
No way, not you, Kevin. 4 projects at once.
Well, that's just today. That's the not counting the other 8 that are uploading after this other one.
Exactly.
Here's the flight pattern: 3 came down, 3 went up. They crisscrossed the same week. There's 5 sitting in preload, and there's another 3 sitting after that. So it's like landing planes. That's what I tell people. Between the 4 screens, there's the 1, 2, 3, and then of course the screen behind me. But you know, it's better than being bored, right? I love it. I love being all.
I really like that. That is nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, very cool.
Thank you.
Hold on, I'll share some more stuff in a second.
Yeah, I would say if you could keep this going, it would probably be something on Webtoon that would take off. But yeah, it's just hard to do it without any financial.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to have to dig up a documentary I got from a few years ago that's talking about the different venues of digital comics that you can go. How we're going with panel by panel, but there's lots of other areas there. It's like one thing was that I seen in one where it's like, let's say you have an image here, and then you could like zoom into it. It zooms in and it opens up into another image as you're zooming, and you just keep scrolling and it keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper in.
Right.
So you're taking advantage of that digital realm where, you know, you're not just having a page or a panel, but like a whole new artistic medium in a way.
That's really cool, man. I've never seen anything that does that. That's awesome.
So
I'll say this about Eric's work, though. Every time I see something from Eric, it's better than the last thing I saw.
Right. Oh, that's very cool, right there.
You know, it's
I was trying to chuck some color
nice
images.
painted work, man.
Yeah, some color images on each of them. A few. But
Phil, you've looked at our book, haven't you?
I've what?
You've read our book, haven't you? Our first issue.
Did I what? I'm not hearing you quite well.
I'm sorry. You've read the Listener book 1, right?
No, I thought you'd send me. I thought you were going to send me a copy over, but I don't think
I did.
I will have to double check, man.
Yeah.
Well, Phil kind of had like a computer meltdown.
Oh yeah.
About that time too.
Yeah, I
and
had a
like,
meltdown, right? Or I had a meltdown along with my computer. Well, I had a meltdown because of my computer melting down.
Right, for sure.
He was kind of off the grid for a while there. He was
right around the holidays, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
I had to totally rebuild my system. Basically, I had to slowly extract everything off my old hard drive before I lost all the data.
Right.
Get a new OS installed, and then get everything transferred over and reinstalled, and yeah, fun stuff.
I can imagine. Well, that was about the time that you and I had talked about my secondary book.
Right.
So, which is insane right now. We're really excited about all that stuff going on.
Yeah, we still need to catch up on that yet, man. I've been meaning to catch up about stuff.
So, like, you guys were doing Webtoon. I know there used to be that Comic Rocket site where you could, like, advertise your or Project Wonderful, like, but I think those sites went down, right? Where do you go to promote your Webtoon to the other audience? Because it seems like just putting it up on Webtoon isn't really enough.
Probably
no, yeah,
social media, man.
Yeah, but when Project Wonderful, remember when that site was up?
Nah.
Do you remember that?
No, what was it?
Like Project Wonderful was, I guess it was like it was Webtoon before Webtoon, where you could go and put up your Webtoon, but you could also advertise, and you could have bring people to your Webtoon on your own personal website. So, yeah, I don't know if anything like Comic Rocket, that's gone too, right?
I've not heard of it.
Comic Rocket, yeah. Explore, it's still there. Explore your Webtoon list. Like here, see how they have those advertisements on the side? You can pay for banner ads and hopefully bring people to your Webtoon.
That's pretty cool.
Because you're advertising to readers of webcomics and Webtoon.
Right.
So,
right.
But the thing is, you'd want to bring them to your website, not send them. I mean, you could send them to Webtoon if you're just out to build a following. But if you bring them to your own website, then maybe you could sell them stuff. You know what I mean?
For sure, absolutely.
So I didn't know if you guys explored that at all. But if you go to Comic Rocket, you can see there's a ton of different comics there.
Absolutely. Well, so us, for example, Eric and I, when we put together the first issue of The Listener, we had no ad presence at all. It was put the book together and basically sell the book on our own merit.
Right.
It wasn't like we had anything else going. We had our cover artists. We had all our stuff together, and we had the book already done, and it was let's go in and sell the book on Kickstarter,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any ads, I didn't have, or add-ons, I didn't have any special stuff. It was, comics, variant issues, and that was what we did, and we made $2,600 on Kickstarter the first time.
That's really good. And just from people you knew and just going to social.
Right. Just showing it off, showing off Eric's talent and talking about my work and the story. And
did you get any coverage on any websites, comic news sites?
Anything in the beginning. And we had asked, I sent in to get reviews done from numerous different companies, but I only got one.
Yeah, ignored, right? Yeah, you got ignored. I know, it's crazy.
So I sent, I have two buddies that work at Image, and I sent I sent an entire first, not just a couple pages. I sent a complete book to Image, and I didn't hear back from them. So we were just well, we're going to do Kickstarter again. You know what I mean? Let's do Kickstarter
Well,
again.
let's speaking of which, I just glanced over at Kickstarter, and you're now sitting at almost 30% funded just while we've been on this program.
Sweet, man. That's exciting.
It's $4 shy of $600.
What's the name? What's the name of the title?